Christian Bale has nothing on this guy.
After going to college on a baseball scholarship, Gavin followed in the footsteps of so many young graduates by opening a winery. With nothing but his grit, his refined palate, and the financial backing of an oil tycoon. Yes, things were finally starting to work out for this tall, handsome, athletic, well-connected young man. Owning this small business gave Newsom his first taste of the issues affecting real Americans.
Enough's enough. We're sick and tired of corky wines that are tainted, wines that are sent back in restaurants.
Move over, Bernie. There's a new man of the people in town. Newsom's Wine Company was a hit. He had the smell of success, with some oaky notes, and I want to say, cherry. But soon a health code clash with City Hall led to sour grapes. So Newsom took his complaint straight to the mayor, who had a strange counteroffer.
Willie Brown, the mayor, said, I'm going to appoint you to the Parking and Traffic Commission because I was bitching about doing business in San Francisco.
Getting appointed to a position he knew nothing about soon gave Gavin the confidence to aim even higher.
Willie Brown was termed out as mayor, and there was an open seat. And I think at 33, I announced, why the hell not?
And with that stirring message as his clarion call, Newsom landed his biggest role to date, mayor. He quickly made his mark, taking the lead on gay marriage.
Separate is not equal.
All right, I got enough of that. We have enough of that. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the following program. I am your host, Joe Newman, a.k.a. Good Lawgic. I got a really action-packed show for you tonight. I'm really excited to be covering this with you because this is stuff that I think is developing. We're in the developing stage of potentially significant movement here with the whole Tulsi Gabbard, Georgia 2020 election thing. This thing has potential. There are drip that's starting to just drop faster and faster and faster, where it looks as if we might be looking at potentially there being a final recognition, finally, after 6 years, it was 2026, 5.5 years, it'll be 5.5 years by the time we actually get anywhere, that people are actually starting to wake up to the fact that, hey, that Georgia election was not a win for Biden, and that all the prosecutions by Fani Willis and Nathan Wade, everyone's screaming election denier, that all that stuff was just ridiculous bluster from people who were trying to cover up for what actually went down in Georgia. And I'll tell you this, I said all the way back in 2021, I think it's more likely he won all 7 of those states than he lost them. I think if they dig into Michigan, I think they dig into Pennsylvania, they're going to find similar stuff there as well. And this is significant really because it underscores just how poorly our elections have been run. And it's something that mainstream America, I'm not talking about the people who are hanging out on Twitter day and night. I'm not talking about the pundits or the kooky eye, crazy blonde woman who sometimes will pop up with Abby Phillips screaming lunacy. I'm not talking about the Brian Krasensteins or the Brooklyn Dads of the world. I'm not even talking about the social media podcasters from my side of the aisle. I'm saying I'm talking about just middle America waking up into recognizing that, hey, you know what? We have a serious friggin' problem with the way we've been running our elections, and that these states have basically been running all over the place doing whatever the heck they want. So I think that this is potentially incredibly significant. Hopefully, I'm much less concerned about trying to right the wrongs of the past. Look, if we get some arrests and some convictions, that's great. That's gravy on top. And I'm all for accountability. I'm all for that. That'd be amazing. But I think the most significant element to this is the potential to wake America up to how we need the SAVE Act, how we need to actually move forward with election ways that we have not simply election integrity, but transparency about our election integrity. Also, I want to break down how school systems today are weaponizing children against ICE, because this is happening in one state after another. Blue states, red states, it doesn't matter. It's happening all over the country, and it's actually a pretty frightening thing to watch. There are some repercussions that are coming for that, but I think that it's an important thing for us to actually break down. I also have a goal up. That goal is if we hit 15 super chats of $10 or more, which is a goal we should hit tonight. We should hit that like in the first 20 minutes. But if we have 15 super chats or Rumble rants or things of that nature of $10 or more, I will be covering the Virginia redistricting story, which there's actually some law behind it that I think it's an important thing for us to actually look at to see whether or not this plan that the Virginia Democrats have to try and tilt our overall landscape of the House in favor of the Democrats, the legality behind it, as well as whether it's actually ultimately going to fly under the law. My guy riding shotgun with me is a guy who hasn't been here in quite a bit. And I'm glad to have him back finally here because I've been feeling lonely on Thursdays. It's third person Thursdays. It's not been the same without him. And I'm welcoming back here into my studio your friend of mine, Jim. Jim tells you, how are you, brother?
How's it going? Great to see everybody. Glad to be back.
I'm doing really, really good. There's a rumor that Timcast raided me.
I saw that. I saw that he did.
There's a rumor that he did. If you're over here from Timcast, I appreciate you stopping by. If you're enjoying the content, I'd really appreciate it if you could like, subscribe, maybe pop on by here again in the future. I tend to start around this time, 10 p.m. Eastern time, which is around the time that Tim Pool wraps up. I happen to be a big fan of Tim Pool. I had the pleasure of appearing on his channel on one occasion, and we actually hit it off really well. But it just hasn't, our scheduling hasn't worked out since then. So yeah, if you're a fan of Tim Pool, I'm hoping that you'll probably like my content as well. So if you are new and here from Timcast, I say welcome. And thanks for stopping on by. Much obliged to you. So I think we should start off by talking about what's going on in Georgia, because I think that's really where everything, that's what people I think really want to know about, right?
The devil went down to Georgia.
Yeah, the devil did go down to Georgia. There's been a lot of news that's been breaking over of late about that. We all know, you're probably aware of the fact that Tulsi Gabbard went to Georgia last week and took 700 boxes of ballots from their election site there, and they actually had body cam that came out about that. The left is freaking out about this. They're getting really, really nervous that this has potential to be something really terrible. Now, and what's interesting about this entire scenario is that Tulsi Gabbard was there on the scene. Do you want to know why that's interesting? Do you want to know why?
Yeah, sure. Why is it interesting?
Well, because she's the head of DNI, which is really supposed to be dealing with national security from foreign threats.
So you mean like there might actually be something, this whole thing about Serbian servers or something like that, and things connected, and there might actually be something there that got shut down?
Well, the left is trying to say that this is a totally improper thing for her to be there. That it's just not, she's not supposed to be there. It's outside her purview. And Donald Trump weighed in with his thoughts.
Stealing an election would kind of be a problem for national security, wouldn't it?
Right. Okay. Well, it's kind of funny because she's the one who basically busted the whole. She's the one who busted open in the summer the whole operation there, that with respect to Obama and that whole fake Russia hoax. So it's kind of funny for her to come in now under that purview of, like, let's say there's some sort of investigation here related to international involvement in our election. You can see,
but the Dems were the ones saying that there was foreign involvement in the election. So why wouldn't they want it looked at?
Well, let's hear from Donald Trump on this.
We have our director of national and international intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who's doing a great job. Where's Tulsi? She took a lot of heat 2 days ago because she went in at Pam's insistence. She went in and she looked at votes that want to be checked out from Georgia. They say, why is she doing it? Right, Pam? Why is she doing it? Because Pam wanted her to do it. And you know why?
That's the weirdest answer in the world. Well, Pam Bondi asked her to do it. Okay.
because she's smart. And they said, well, this has to do, her position has to do, it's really not so, but her position has to do with international. I say, well, the same people that said that, they've been saying Russia has been screwing our elections, okay? So let's assume Russia had something to do with it. They say, no, Russia didn't have. So now they're saying Russia had nothing to do with it. Because if I say Russia, that it's perfectly fine. But you could add China and about 5 other countries to it. But she's done a great job, and Pam has done a fantastic job, and we appreciate it both. I haven't seen you in a couple of days.
I'm just going to say this. If I was Tulsi Gabbard, I'd be really offended to be lumped together on the whole good job together with Pam Bondi. Because it's like, it reminds me of like, if some of you were old enough to remember Seinfeld, right? Where like this handsome doctor, like there's this running joke going about this baby, which was like really hideous. And like all the main characters, every time they look at the baby, they'll like look down the grill like, ew. And then this doctor who Elaine is crushing on, like basically tells her how breathtaking she looks. And she's all flabbergasted and complimented by it. And then he comments about how the baby is so breathtaking. And she's like, wait, what? And that's what I feel like if I was Tulsi Gabbard. It's like, you're telling me what a good job I'm doing. And then you turn around and you basically start saying, yeah, I don't know. If you're lumping me together with Pam Bondi, I'm not so sure that that's actually the compliment that everyone that I was thinking it was just like a few minutes ago. So there is a little bit of it is. I don't think he means to denigrate with that comment, but it does sort of lose some of its steam. So we should talk about what's been going on in Georgia. And there's a couple of things I really want to break down for you here. First, I'm going to start with I want you to just understand how bad the problem is in Georgia. Those of you who might not realize just why it is that they'd be looking down there. So a really based attorney by the name of Cleta Mitchell was on the War Room, and she was breaking down everything that happened in Georgia. And I think that this will really help you better understand exactly why it is that we're looking in Georgia. But before I get there, just real quick here, for the goal, thank you, Kelly C. Yes, working towards that goal. First of 15, who's second? I don't know. Well, you were second, I think, because I have you showing. You came in like a minute after Kelly. So, but we'll count you as number one if that makes you. I'm sure Kelly will be fine with that. Not gonna lie, Trump administration is pissing me off. WB, Jim tells you. Welcome back, Jim tells you. I'm not.
I thought it was Warner Brothers. I thought they knew that I was involved in the Warner Brothers takeover.
Yes, everyone assumed that you're a very, very significant role in Warner Brothers. That's probably.
I warn those brothers a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So let's check out exactly what Cleta Mitchell says when she's explaining all the problems that exist in Georgia.
Thank you.
I thought this was Claire McCaskill. Doesn't that look like Claire McCaskill? Remember the senator from Missouri, Claire McCaskill?
I don't remember her. Oh, maybe. Yeah.
That's exactly what she looked like. That's who I thought it was when I first saw this. I'm like, why is Claire McCaskill saying this stuff?
Yeah.
Well, I did talk the truth to everybody. I want people to picture in your mind November 4th, the morning of November 4th, the day after the election, the national presidential election. Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger from Georgia went on the Today Show and he said the following, that a record 4.7 million ballots had been cast in Georgia. This is the morning of November 4th. President Trump was in the lead by 103,000 votes, and there were only 94,000 ballots left to count.
Which normally at that point they would call it, right? They would call it at that point. Why would you not call it? And they waited like 3 or 4 days to call it in Georgia. And for people who might have forgotten, in 2020 they waited like 3 or 4 days. When I first heard this, I was like, "Oh my God!" I feel like I've been the only person screaming about this for so long that they kept adding in more and more ballots. They'd be like, "Well, that's what they said. There's 100,000 ballots left, 90,000 ballots left, and he's got this kind of lead." And and then they come back with a new report half a day later. And they're like, oh, okay, so we're down to the last 45,000. I was like, wait, there was fewer ballots before. How do we have more? How do we have more?
Well, it's specifically the reason they're looking at Fulton County, right? Because they discovered that there was more votes cast in Fulton County than there are fucking people in Fulton County. They have the numbers, but they claim voted in Fulton County are more than the number of people that live there.
I want you to find that for me. Find me a source on that.
There is a source on
that.
it.
Find me a source on that. You get that from me while watching Cleveland Mitchell. I didn't see that.
Now remember, the deadline for receipt of absentee ballots in Georgia in 2020 was when the polls closed 7 p.m. on November the 3rd. So that's a known number the next day, right?
And I gotta tell you something. It's not like he just said a number that he's like, 5 million people, 4 million. He said 4.7 million in his initial number. 4.7. That it's not a round. That's not a. That's not a number you just pick randomly. That's a number that he looked at and saw.
Except that when they finished counting the ballots 4 days later, suddenly there were 300,000 more ballots than there were when the polls closed on Election Day. Absentee ballots that came in, and half of those, 148,000 of those, were from Fulton County. Now, let me tell you some things about Fulton County.
148. Oh my God. 148,000 absentee ballots from Fulton County. Mind you, in case you're not aware of the numbers, he lost the election according to the official results by 11. I think it was 11,800 or something like that.
I think it was 10,000 basically.
No, 10, I'm pretty sure it was. I think I remember him saying I just need 12,000 votes. I think it was like 11,800 or so. But
County. And all of this is from a 263-page intense report with every document, visual images. You cannot believe the things that are in this report. I'll tell you where to find the full report. But I wanted to go through those 260 some odd pages and pull out the bullet points that everybody needs to just understand. So let's talk about Fulton County absentee ballots. There were 74,000 absentee ballots that had come into Fulton County by the time the polls closed, the legal deadline by the time the polls closed on November the 3rd. But somehow, 4 days later, instead of those 74,000, there were 148,000.
So they had they doubled their numbers of illegal ballots, of absentee ballots after the polls were closed. You got clicking going on there, brother.
Plus, just a little over 148,000 absentee ballots that were now suddenly in the mix. Now, where did those come from? Fulton County election officials ordered on October the 16th over 1 million new absentee ballots. They were ordered without envelopes, even though in order to cast an absentee ballot in Georgia, you have to mail it.
So why would you be ordering ballots that have to be mailed in? Why would you be ordering these ballots without the envelopes unless you were planning on doing something illicit?
You have to put it in an envelope. It has to be sealed in an envelope. And we saw in one of our counts in our lawsuit, our election contest, that was never heard by a judge because no judge was appointed. But our volunteers saw all of these pristine ballots, no folds. Those cannot be absentee ballots.
Because you have to fold it to put it in the mail. So it cannot possibly be a valid absentee ballot.
But tens of thousands of these ballots were delivered to the State Farm Arena with no chain of custody. Here's the ultimate data point. according to Fulton County and the Secretary of State records, this is post-election, there were 148,319 absentee ballots in Fulton County counted, included in the totals for Georgia. But only 125,784 voters were recorded as having cast an absentee ballot. That is a difference of 25,535 more ballots than voters who are recorded as having registered for and cast an absentee ballot in Fulton County.
Meaning, is that what I don't know if you're muted. Meaning, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. There was another testimony from some guy. I can't find it now. There was some guy that was testifying back in like 2021 about it, that there was more ballots than people.
It's not more ballots than people in Fulton County. This is where we had our disconnect. It's that the people who had requested absentee ballots, so they had like 120% of those requests sent ballots in. There is no chance in hell that this election was anything but fraudulent. That is impossible to have unless you have massive amounts of fraud. You wouldn't even, it's impossible to have 100% return. It's not possible to do that because some people will lose their ballots, some people will forget. You're just not going to have 100% turnout. They have 25,000 more mail-ins than were actually sent out. Like, that's astonishing. That is just how such a thing could happen is just mind-blowing.
So that's 25,535 more ballots than voters. And the margin between President Trump and Joe Biden was 11,779. Now, these absentee ballots that came in, there were over 133,000 ballot images deleted. Only 16,000 of the 148,000 absentee ballots, only 16,000 have the actual ballot images that were retained.
So they took the ballots, counted the ballots, and then just deleted as if it never happened. So that way it could never be looked at again.
As required by law. And people have looked at those ballot images and they see anomalies.
Now, I want to be clear here. There are people who are obviously, there's many hundreds of thousands, if not over, 1 million people in Fulton County who went to the polls. Probably hundreds of thousands. I wouldn't assume 1 million. But some people said, hey, I can't go to the poll. Send me an absentee ballot. They send out 100. So some people went to the polls. Most of them went to the polls. But a significant percentage, because remember, this is 2020, right? When you had the whole COVID scare going on during the election. We tend to forget what was going on then. So a lot more people than regular were asking for absentee ballots. But in Fulton County, they sent out 120,000 and they took back 145,000 votes. That's the point. So it's not that there were more people voting in Fulton County than people living in Fulton County. It's from the absentee ballot folk, the ones who could vote by absentee ballot, they had 25,000 extra that just popped in. And then they deleted any record of all the absentee ballots.
Markings changed, timestamps. They believe that those were deliberately deleted. Now that's just in the absentee ballots. We get into the tabulators, where the tabulator tapes, that every tabulator has a tape. It is supposed to have a memory card that is put into the tabulator at the beginning. They're supposed to print out a poll tape that says 0. There are no ballots on this machine at the start of the election. And then there's a memory card that's supposed to be put in. There's a seal that is put on, and that is not supposed to be taken off until the polls close from advanced voting prior to Election Day, the Friday before Election Day. But what we see in Fulton County, and there's also supposed to be a closing tape. So there's supposed to be every tabulator, a tape that has the opening at 0 And at the closing, it's supposed to say how many ballots were tabulated by that particular machine. It is supposed to have the serial number of the machine that actually tabulated the ballots. What did they do in Fulton County? There are only 9 tabulators that have opening tapes. There are zero poll tapes that have both the opening tape and the zero.
And the reason that's significant is to ensure that no one's been playing around and just throwing in extra ballots in order to, just to pump up the vote for one side or the other.
Count the official record of how many ballots were tabulated and the serial number. There are 0 of the 148 tabulators in Fulton County in 2020. There are zero tabulator tapes with all the required statutory information. There are no qualified numbered voter lists for Fulton County for in-person voting. Every voter who comes in is supposed to be sign in. That becomes the numbered voter list. They know exactly how many have shown up to vote, and none of those the numbered voter list exist. I can go on, and if you look.
Anyhow, so that's essentially what we got from Cleta, and she does a great job breaking down all the fraud that was going on there, which is it's astonishing. It's really astonishing. Anyhow, I want to also break down for you what happened, that recently released grand jury testimony. And this is another thing that came out, which possibly is what motivated Tulsi to go down there. Because it's not like these complaints there's grand jury testimony that came out from Senator Perdue. Did you hear about this? You're muted.
Yes, I heard about it from Senator Perdue.
Yeah, so Senator Perdue, who was Georgia's Senate representative.
Yeah, he lost in the runoff. That was totally legit.
He lost in the runoff. And everyone was angry. I don't know if you remember what was going on, the political climate that was going on at that time in 2020, 2021, where everyone was really angry about the way the elections went off. And they basically, in the runoff, the Republicans were like, screw this, we're not showing up. We're not coming. And he's really annoyed about what happened here. No one knew about this. This was all stuff when he was being questioned by Nathan Wade in preparation for the ultimate, what would ultimately become the indictment of Donald Trump and 18 other folks. So Badlands Media shared this out. And they say his grand jury testimony from Senator David Perdue suggests Governor Brian Kemp halted investigations into 2020 election. If the governor doesn't want to investigate, we're not going to investigate. Oh, if he doesn't want us to, we're just not going to do it. We're just not going to do it.
Do you think there was some kind of deal cut between Kemp and the Democrats that he could stay governor?
So, on as far as what is Brian Kemp's motivation in all of this, because we're going to see this story, which is going to basically show that Brian Kemp kiboshed any sort of real investigation. Should I cut to the chase as to why it is that, one speculation? I have here one person who's speculating about that. I think I got the clip here. Where are you? Here it is. I think this is. We'll get into it. We'll get into that story real quick, but first we'll explain why it is that Brian Kemp may have had this motivation. This here is, what's her name? Christina Bobb. I should know her.
What do you make of everything that's unfolding here? Let's take Fulton County, Georgia first, and the Perdue testimony that the Georgia Bureau of Investigations had evidence, and Kemp said, don't investigate.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, you have to remember that Brian Kemp was the Secretary of State in Georgia in 2018. It was under Secretary of State Brian Kemp that the Dominion machines were brought in. It was under Secretary of State Brian Kemp that the voting facilities were changed to those big voting centers rather than counting at the precinct. Brian Kemp changed all of that. It was Brian Kemp who contracted with Dominion for the machines. And then his election in 2018 was a historic victory, you know, the most voter turnout in a midterm election in Georgia, where he won with like 50.8% of the vote against Stacey Abrams. It was a very small margin. She challenged that election. It was that election where it prompted the questions into the voting machines, and Amy Klobuchar and Elizabeth Warren, senators, saying, oh, the machines are rigged, they're hackable, all of that stuff. It was the Democrats that actually raised that issue in Georgia with Brian Kemp's election. Then Kemp is in office, shuts down the investigation into 2020, works with Brad Raffensperger, who originally said that Donald Trump won the state of Georgia. There was not enough margin for it to switch to Joe Biden. And then, of course, he recanted that. So there's a lot of weirdness going on with Brian Kemp, Brad Raffensperger.
I apologize for the audio. It's bad for me, too. It's not just you.
And I'll throw Chris Carr in there, the Attorney General, because when you have an Attorney General who's allowing a lot of this to go on and they know they're not going to be held accountable, these rogue Republicans, and it's all Republican activity, these rogue Republicans are getting away with it.
So I guess you can draw from that perhaps that there was a he just doesn't want his elections being scrutinized because of his own personal shenanigans that he may have played in order to help win the election after, you know, he did perhaps some shady stuff in 2018 as Secretary of State to help set up his election as governor. I mean, that's what I would draw from it.
Are you seeing this comment from La Raza's for Trump in the chat? I don't know if that's true or not, but if that's, I don't know. I don't. Do you remember hearing anything about this?
Let me see what comment you're talking about.
Just one day after Brian Kemp.
Just one day after Brian Kemp called for a signature audit in Georgia, his daughter's boyfriend and a staffer to Senate runoff candidate Kelly Loeffler was killed in a fiery car crash. Really?
And then it was called off? Is that what the implication is? Was it, someone was saying something about it was a car bombing. It wasn't a car crash. I don't know.
I don't know anything about that. I haven't heard anything about that. That's an interesting.
Everyone's saying, yeah, it's true. I remember that. I don't know. I don't. I must not have been paying attention. Let me look it up.
Let me catch up on some of these other comments here. If you steal an election, are you a dictator? Probably. I would think so. That's a good point. I'm not a follower. I just hang out for 9 months. 9 months. 9 months. You could have that baby is coming any day. Coming any day. J.H. Schwalbach. Joe. I had a bunch of coins that I got from a mine in Gaza. They have menorah on them. They're dated Jesus minus 1,000. So I used them to buy some locals coin. Will you be checking locals tonight? Yes, I'm checking it right now. Joey, are you gonna be checking locals? I know we're the lowest level of life, but we're not from India. That's so not true. That's so not true. I'm gonna have Jim remind me. Say, Joe, locals, in case sometimes I get too involved in what I'm doing. Maybe I'll have like a little thing going off here. I also I have a whole bunch of ghetto. I got JH in the ghetto saying, I'm really sick about the fact that Ever News outlet says there's no evidence of voter fraud. We need at least one big conviction so we can go back through there throw it back in their face. Yeah, I agree with you, and thank you for the 20 there. Also, Zelian says, Joe, Kemp screwed everyone and so did another unelected tyrannical black robe activist. And he shares a link here. How long is this link? I put a
link to the story about the car that blew up in a private chat.
Cool. I got a 404 error on that. Dominion After Dark says, women enjoy good health and nutrition by putting Anton's firm and
worked when I pulled it up.
And putting that from having me from Bill Tong USA, do not use the code suck it at checkout. Backdoor delivery is unavailable. I don't even understand what any of that means. But, yeah. All right, let's get into this article here. On August 24, 2023, Donald Trump surrendered himself to authorities at the Fulton County Jail. What followed was the most infamous mugshot of all time. And what was cool about it is we knew it was going to be infamous before he even took it. And he did not disappoint. Such a great shot. He had just been indicted on racketeering and other charges related to the 2020 presidential election results in Georgia. The case of State of Georgia versus Trump was manufactured by Fulton County DA Fannie Willis and her lover Nathan Wade, was ultimately dismissed on November 25th, 2025. Even after its dismissal, the case is providing us with more context of what actually happened and what did not happen surrounding the 2020 election. Last month, Judge Scott McAfee lifted a protective order on the special grand jury transcripts from the case of State of Georgia versus Trump. One particular transcript contains a concerning claim made by former U.S. Senator David Perdue. So he said this stuff under oath. On September 6, 2022, Senator Perdue sat for a transcribed interview in front of the grand jury. He was examined. I guess it's an interview. Maybe that's not testimony. He was examined by Nathan Wade, among others. I would think a transcribed interview is under oath, but and one of these people who's here is by Mr. Wade, Esquire. There you go. After initial pleasantries, Wade asked Senator Perdue whether he agreed that investigations by the Secretary of State's office and GBI, Georgian Bureau of Investigations, and numerous investigations showed nothing illegal happened at the State Farm Arena on election night 2020. Perdue responded, I agree that an investigation happened. Yes. Sure. So you're talking about pre-January 2021. So you're talking about pre-January 6, 2021. So just to get the timeline straight, I'm talking about sitting here today. So you're talking about, this is Nathan Wade asking the question. So you're talking about State Farm Arena and the things that happened in the video. I'm assuming, since then, the Secretary of State's office, the GBI, numerous investigations have looked into that and said that nothing illegal happened. And Perdue says, actually, that's your opinion. That's not fact. It's not my opinion that those investigations have. Well, let me give you one example. Do you agree that those investigations took place? Yes. That the GBI investigated? I agree that an investigation happened. Yes. Wade fired back. I just want to flesh out for the grand jury what you mean, because it's a simple question. Did the GBI investigate those claims? Not to my knowledge, not to my satisfaction. That's what Perdue said. When Wade asked if Perdue had reason to believe that the GBI would not have conducted a satisfactory investigation, which is such a stupid question for a lawyer to ask in front of a grand jury, but okay. The response from Perdue was shocking. Senator Perdue claimed to have received a phone call in November 2021 from Vic Reynolds, then director of GBI. Reynolds told Perdue, we are not going to investigate. The governor wants me to tell you why we're not going to investigate. So that's why. Why are we not investigating? What's happening? Perdue revealed that in May of 2021, Reynolds was presented with evidence of ballot harvesting, video evidence, cell phone evidence, along with testimony and bank records that are corroborated. This is just astonishing. Perdue stated that Reynolds looked at that and said it was compelling enough to be investigated. So Reynolds thought they should do an investigation. Perdue would go on to reveal that the reason Reynolds gave him for not investigating that compelling evidence was because Reynolds was a team player. If the governor doesn't want to investigate, we are not going to investigate. What? What? So it seems as if Kemp wants him to know. You want to know why there's no investigation? Because I said no. You're all team players here. Perdue would conclude his answer by stating it for the record that then GBI Director Vic Reynolds was later promoted to Superior Court Judge of Cobb County. So he's a team player, and the next thing you know, he ends up getting a lifetime appointment. Here you go. It's not really a lifetime appointment. I think they have to actually be reelected. But once you get in there the first time, the chances of staying on there are much, much higher. An appointment made by Governor Brian Kemp in August 2022, just 1 month before this testimony was given. So there's a couple of reasons you do that. One is you're greasing your wheel. That'd be one reason. Another is it's kind of tricky to get a judge to come in and be subpoenaed. Okay, you have a reason to believe they would not have done it? And you tell them about this phone call over here. According to Purdue, Vic Reynolds saw evidence about harvesting that was compelling enough to open an investigation. Reynolds did not open the investigation because he wanted to be a team player for Brian Kemp, the man who would promote him to Superior Court judge less than a year later. And he wouldn't be the first person promoted to Superior Court judgeship that was involved in election investigations. Toward the end of testimony, another attorney present, Donald Wakeford, asked Senator Perdue a follow-up question regarding the claim. Quote, you said that although Mr. Reynolds had received evidence that he felt was compelling enough to open an investigation, that he was not going to investigate because the governor had told him not to. That's one of the things he said. Yeah, Perdue responded. Perdue clarified that there had been two whistleblowers who had come forward and testified regarding ballot harvesting in Georgia. One claimed to have corroborative evidence, including bank statements of payments for what he said he did. So one guy said, yeah, sure, I was doing the ballot harvesting myself. I got paid for it. They had video evidence of that, corroborating what he said he did. And they had cell phone evidence that backed up what he said he did. So yeah, this guy was ballot harvesting. Reynolds told Perdue that without the witness, they could not move forward. Perdue inquired whether Reynolds could get him the whistleblower protections. The evidence that was presented to Reynolds, and also viewed by Senator Perdue, stems from presentation made by True the Vote in May of 2021. According to a follow-up letter by Reynolds, the data presented identified 279 cell phones, which had made multiple trips to within 100 feet of a voter drop box. Other documents provided tied those specific cell phones to various organizations through geolocation. Reynolds continued, what has not been provided is any kind of evidence that ties these cell phones to ballot harvesting. For example, there are no statements of witnesses and no names of any potential defendants to interview. Saliently, it has been stated there is a, quote, a source that can validate ballot harvesting. Despite repeated requests, this source has not been provided to either the GBI or the FBI. As it exists, the data, while curious, does not rise to the level of probable cause that a crime has been committed. For the GBI to get the same CSLI information you provided, we would need to obtain a search warrant based on such probable cause. We cannot make that showing with what has been provided. So that's his explanation for what's going on here. Reynolds' claim of repeated requests is refuted by Catherine Engelbrecht. So Reynolds says, no. The reason we didn't do this whole investigation is we couldn't get probable cause in order to actually subpoena any of this stuff. But, we tried getting it. We just couldn't get an actual witness here. But that's refuted by Catherine Engelbrecht, founder of True the Vote. In a statement to Badlands Media, Engelbrecht wrote, Vic Reynolds' description of what happened in the investigation is untrue. We met once with Vic Reynolds and his team in the governor's office in early 2021, where we walked them through our initial findings. After that meeting, we made repeated attempts to re-engage with GBI and never received a response. The FBI offered to assist by hosting a secure database so the GBI and other law enforcement agencies could access the information and preserve chain of custody across the states involved. They were clear, however, that they were not conducting investigations and not collect evidence. Given what followed, it's unclear that there was ever a genuine effort on their parts. The next time Mr. Reynolds surfaced was when a letter he wrote and addressed to us appeared in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. We did not receive the letter at the time it was published. When we later did, we responded directly to the governor. The suggestion that this stalled because we failed to provide an informant's name isn't accurate. We were shut out early, and as public pressure mounted, the focus shifted to blaming us rather than examining the evidence. At no point was there a serious effort to ask the kinds of questions a real investigation requires. So they're saying, well, we have no witness. No, we have no witness. We told them, we'll give you the witness. That witness just needs whistleblower protection. That's all. We'll give you the witness. There is a witness. We'll give him to you. That guy just needs whistleblower protection. That's not that much to ask. Perdue's explanation of his conversation with Reynolds and Reynolds' alleged remark that he's a team player and that if the governor doesn't want to investigate, we're not going to investigate is compelling given the statement from Engelbrecht. Senator Perdue was the incumbent senator in the 2020 election and failed to reach the 50% threshold against Ossoff, despite winning by 90,000 votes. That election runoff was conducted on January 5th, 2021, where Ossoff won by 55,000 votes. The victories of John Ossoff and Warnock gave Democrats control of the U.S. Senate and Joe Biden a trifecta in the federal government, which he used to basically make our country as terrible as he possibly could. And an interesting history of failing up. Reynolds isn't the first Georgia official to be involved in 2020 election investigation and later received an appointment to judgeship, nor is he the second. He's the third. Following the 2020 election, so basically Brian Kemp is like, oh, if you're a team player for me, the next thing you know, oh, wow, magic presto changeo, you're a judge. Great. Following the 2020 election on November 17, 2020, Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger claimed that an audit of 5 counties was performed by Pro V&V, a voting systems testing lab. Pro V&V is not a certified auditing firm, and their involvement in any post-election audit would be a direct conflict of interest since they were responsible for certifying the equipment prior to the election. So they're doing this count, and they're the ones who are trying to make it look good. They're not certified. Raffensperger claimed that Cobb, Douglas, Floyd, Morgan, Paulding, and Spalding counties were subject to the Pro V&V audits. Who cares? They're basically going to tell you whatever numbers are going to verify their own work. That doesn't mean anything. It means nothing. Below are open records request responses from 3 of those counties.
Oh, this is going to be where they were asking about the, this is the audit that wasn't requested until 9 months after it was supposedly done. So I was trying to find anything about this online and I can't. Like, it's like, oh no, audits, yeah, it was fine. Everything was great.
Further, the memo from Jack Cobb, president of Pro V&V, to Michael Barnes of the Secretary of State's office that was acknowledging the Secretary of State's request for Pro V&V to perform the audit was dated July 16, 2021, more than 8 months after the audit had allegedly been performed. So they're saying, you see, we did it. And it's like, dude, you made this request 8 months after you had said you'd done it. Metadata for the image confirmed that was July 16, 2021 on Jack Cobb's device. According to Georgia resident, so there's so much shadiness going on with this count. According to Georgia resident Bob Couvert, who facilitated the open records request, Raffensperger included the quote, results of this audit in a 10-page letter to the U.S. Congress following December 22nd, 2020 promise to investigate 250 credible cases of fraud with the whole of government. Couvert claims he took evidence of 28 instances of fraud to Governor Brian Kemp and worked with Evan Myers, Governor Kemp's executive deputy counsel. Myers then referred it to then Inspector General Scott McAfee. Scott McAfee. Odor of mendacity, Scott McAfee. IG McAfee, he was Inspector General at that point, said he could only go after one allegation, the claims that an audit never took place. Couvert claims that when he gave McAfee the evidence that the audits didn't take place in the 6 counties mentioned, McAfee stopped talking to Couvert. He claims he went to Allison Sosebee, then a district attorney in the Appalachian Circuit, and shared the information with her. She also stopped talking. Both that McAfee and Sosebee are now Superior Court judges appointed by Governor Kemp. Stop talking to people, I'll make you a judge. It'll make it easier for you to stop talking to people if you're a judge. Stop talking to people, I'll make you a judge. This guy, Brian Kemp, unbelievable. So there you go. That is the report from Badlands Media. Great compilation there by them. Really well done. Really well done. And we have updates today on this, which is breaking. Georgia Senate gearing up to subpoena Fani Willis. Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade. Committee drops the hammer. Willis's evasive testimony in December left us with more questions than answers, especially after contradictory statements from others, including Nathan Wade himself. Truth is coming out. No more dodging. Time for real answers on the mess she made. Subpoenas coming. And this is what he wrote here. This is great. Let me just pop this a little bigger for y'all.
Did you know also that in Fulton County, there's over 100,000 more registered voters than there are voting age people? I could show you. I mean, they say there's many reasons, any explanations why that can happen.
Yeah.
If there's 700,000 voting age people and there's 808,000 registered voters. That's like 15%. more registered voters than there are people, there's a problem.
It's astonishing. It's astonishing. And they have all these registered voters from 1900.
I don't know. I'm just saying. It's like,
I got
definitely
more.
not fraud. Definitely not fraud, though.
I got more on this. Don't worry. I got more on this. Atlanta today, Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones issued a statement supporting the ongoing work of the Georgia Senate Special Committee on Investigations. Lieutenant Governor Jones highlighted the committee's issuance of subpoenas to Nathan Wade and Jeff DeSantis to further investigate the misuse of taxpayer dollars by the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. The Senate will continue to prioritize accountability and transparency for Fulton County taxpayers, said Burt Jones. Go get him, Burt. DA Willis's evasive testimony in December. Fannie Willis. Fannie, big fat Fannie's evasive testimony in December left the committee with more questions than answers, especially in light of contradictory statements others, including her lover Nathan Wade had previously made. The committee plans to hear testimony from Mr. Wade and Jeff DeSantis that will hopefully shed more light on Fannie Willis's abuse of her office. This committee will continue to seek accountability and transparency for millions of dollars wasted at the expense of Fulton County taxpayers. Quote, after Fannie Willis's unhinged testimony, the need for accountability is clearer than ever, said Senator Greg Dolezal. He's a state senator. We will continue investigating the misuse of taxpayer dollars in the politically driven prosecution of President Trump and other Republicans. Georgians deserve answers, accountability, and confidence the justice system will never again be used as a political weapon. So there's that. I got more for you, though. Here is Dolezal. This is Greg Dolezal.
Well, we learned that she's an unhinged lunatic, first and foremost. And if you saw any of that testimony, it was 4 hours. I conducted the questioning, and she unhinged is the only adjective that I can use to describe her. But here's what we learned, Rick, specifically. We learned that on the day that Jack Smith was appointed by Biden to go after Trump, that Nathan Wade, who was the special prosecutor that Willis hired, that she had a personal relationship with, that he was on the phone that day, according to his billing records.
That day, the day he's appointed.
For 8 hours with the White House. We know that he made a trip to D.C. He magically can't remember who he met with in his White House deposition. Willis has no idea who they met with allegedly in D.C.
I can't remember.
Massive cases of amnesia.
I spent 8 hours there dealing with them. I don't remember who I spoke to. I don't know. It's like my only time I've ever been to Washington in my life. I've ever been to the White House sitting with the president, vice president, all these really significantly important, like most powerful people on the planet. I don't remember which of them I've met.
Now here in Atlanta, but what we do know is there was some level of J6 coordination with Willis, and we know that there was some sort of White House coordination. And I can break the news on your show tonight, Rick, that we issued subpoenas today from the Georgia State Senate to subpoena Nathan Wade and Jeff DeSantis, who is the deputy district attorney working under Fannie Willis. And they have been ordered to appear a week from Friday before the state Senate to testify under oath.
So there you go. What day did he say that was coming?
Ordered to appear a week from Friday before the state Senate to testify.
A week from Friday. I wonder if it's going to be televised. Think it's going to be televised?
Should be, right? I mean,
maybe. In the past, it's been televised. That would be great theater. That should be exciting theater. Okay, there's the date. February 13th, 9 a.m. Georgians deserve answers. I like it. And here is the left freaking out. Scumbag lawfare shill Mark Elias panicking like never before. They know how dirty this thing is. They know how dirty this is.
Yeah, look, I've been sounding the alarm about the risks that Donald Trump faced to democracy.
Face to democracy. This guy's so crooked.
Since I was the general counsel to Hillary Clinton's campaign.
Yeah, general counsel to Hillary Clinton's campaign. He had no idea how many bodies this guy had to put in the ground to get that position.
You and I did a lot
Metaphorically.
of television sounding the alarm before the 2020 election and what we saw afterwards. And I am here to sound a larger and louder alarm today than I ever have before. I mean, the fact is that Donald Trump has proven himself.
When you're always screaming at volume 11, it's really hard to raise it, to crank it up higher. So, but he's here to crank it up. That Trump is a threat to democracy. In case you were wondering what he's going to say, he's a threat to democracy. Now he's looking at Georgia.
Desperate. As you point out, the redistricting has not worked out the way he wished. I'm proud that my law firm represented the Democratic Party in defeating the Republican effort that we just won in the Supreme Court. But the fact is that when that didn't work out, he then went to Plan B. And Plan B is what we are seeing. It is political prosecutions. It is the threats of more political
prosecutions of people. We have elections that you have 25,000 more mail-in ballots than those that are sent out. Prosecution. 300,000 ballots that are popping up there after Election Day. So yeah, these are real problems here that are scaring them, but somehow that's something that's illicit.
Prosecutions. It is
Plan B to attack democracy. He's preserving the democracy. To the extent democracy is an integral part of our constitutional republic, because we're not a democracy, we are a constitutional republic, but there's a democracy element to that constitutional republic, and he's the only one who's preserving it from you crooked thieves.
The dry running of how one seizes ballots. Yes, he's interested in 2020, but he's really interested in setting up the mechanism to be able to seize ballots in 2026.
It's not setting up a mechanism. That's ridiculous. There's no such thing as paving a highway, other than calling out the fraud that you committed in the past. It's not like what he does doing investigations 2020, saying there was all this illicit stuff in 2020, paves a mechanism for 2026. This is complete crap. All he's doing is he's saying, hey, here are all the problems that there were in 2020. Let's take care of that before anything happens similar in 2026.
He has found a prosecutor in Missouri, not in Georgia, in Missouri, seizing ballots in Georgia. That prosecutor in Missouri apparently has nationwide jurisdiction, so he has found a willing prosecutor to do these things.
Nationwide jurisdiction? You mean like Fannie Willis going after Donald Trump? That kind of nationwide jurisdiction?
Meanwhile, you have Steve Bannon on TV, who, as you know, is never too many degrees away from Donald Trump's psyche. This morning, saying that ICE should be around polling locations.
And of course they should. Why should they not be around polling locations? Why? If anything, you should be like, yeah, stay there, because why would there be anyone? You're not going to find anyone there, right?
Illegals don't vote, so why would it matter?
Why do you care? Why do you care? You should be really happy. It's a day off for the illegals. It's a day off for them, because none of them are anywhere near the polling grounds. None of them are anywhere near there. So let them waste their time there. That's what you should be saying.
And what we have seen ICE do is tragic towards U.S. citizens, including killing U.S. citizens.
Oh, shut up.
So,
killing U.S.
like this is all lining up. But Nicole, if I can just add one final thing.
Please do, because you've given us so much insight.
The biggest lie that Donald Trump is telling right now.
What do you think the biggest lie is?
I don't know. That he's president? Is that the biggest lie? That's the guy who claimed he wasn't really president all through 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. Is he going to say he's still not president? He's illegitimate? Is he going to still say that? Is that his biggest lie? Is that he's a legitimate president? I don't know.
I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine what they would qualify as the biggest lie. I should have like a little poll here. What do you guys think he's going to say is the biggest lie? I'm gonna leave that there for you guys to mull over. What the biggest lie? As I catch up on Super Chats real quick here. Has Joe had his shingles shot? What? No.
They're talking about me. Making jokes.
Car crash is true. DM you the article. I think I got the article here from Jim Tells You. He's got. I think he shared. But thank you very much, Kimmy. Atlanta FBI Chief Paul Brown warned Fulton County election officials of coming raid. shared items agents plan to seize. He was moved just before a warrant was executed. The Bureau's compromise sent you the link.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's pathetic.
It is. He should actually be arrested, because isn't it a crime to do stuff like that? To leak, because he's leaking secret grand jury information. Should be arrested. He broke the law.
That actually sounds like obstruction to me.
Yeah, obstruction of justice, definitely. But it's also, I think it's a violation of grand jury secrecy if he knows that the warrant was sworn, you know what I mean? Divulging.
I'm saying it's 18 U.S.C. 1331, the same thing that the January 6th defendants were charged with. It's obstruction. But that's the proper use of it. Catherine Engelbrecht and Gray Phillips of True the Vote were working with the FBI on Chinese voter data breach. FBI suddenly flipped and arrested them in Texas. You should have Catherine on. Oh, that's interesting. I'll look into that. Working with FBI on Chinese voter data breach. I don't know what Chinese voter data breach means. I don't know what that means, but
in all honesty, Joe, I don't know how much any of this matters. When I saw a story today that they're giving out real IDs to people that aren't U.S. citizens. You know, real ID CDLs. The guy that killed the people in a fiery crash that they said was a terrorist and all that stuff.
And the one who killed the Amish.
Yeah, he had a real ID, and he just got into the country in 2023 using the Biden app, and somehow Pennsylvania gave him a real ID.
Pathetic. It's really pathetic.
Which that's only supposed to be for U.S. citizens. Real ID is proof. You know, the thing we got to know who's citizens now, so we get the real ID.
Zellian, I'll try to come back to your link in a bit, because I want to just finish up with the links I got here. So the really big lie that we can't let go slide. Mark Elias is about to tell us.
We really can't let go slide, and that we cannot let normalize, is this idea that states operate as his agents.
Where does anyone say? When did he say that? Oh, you're saying that they should work together with the police the way that, with ICE?
The Constitution does not allow the president to have any role in federal elections.
That's just not true. That's not.
Won a case in D.C. District Court in which the judge rejected the executive order that Donald Trump issued, saying that the president has no role in elections.
Yeah, well, those low-level judges invariably get it wrong when Trump is involved. So that doesn't really mean anything at all.
But yet he is trying to turn the Constitution on its head.
Yeah, it turns on its head. You mean like the way those district judges who basically assume that they have national jurisdiction? That kind of turning it on its head? Even when the Supreme Court tells them over and over again, no, you don't.
Would it be like if a judge said that an order that's going to expire, say like tomorrow for TPS for Haitians, no, you can't let it expire. You have to extend it. She orders. Would that be it turning on its head, or, you know?
Seriously, how insane is that?
States run elections.
Yeah, this is a mistake. This is.
Well, let's say. Oh, so states run elections. Is that why a judge, a federal judge in Utah, told the Utah legislature, "You can't use your maps. You have to use the maps I got off of this left-wing group, so that the Democrats can get a Utah seat."
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's going to hold up on appeal. That doesn't make any sense to me. How a judge has the authority to do that. These judges, they've gotten so out of whack with what they think they have authority to do. It's astonishing. It's really astonishing. And that's a state judge. That's not even a federal judge.
What's weird too is now you've got district court judge Indira Talwani saying that you can't use the administrative warrants anymore. It's a violation of due process rights and all this stuff.
Really?
Yeah. And she's a district judge who has no role in immigration whatsoever, according to the Congress and the law. Yet she's going to tell them how to do it.
I didn't see that one.
Oh yeah.
I didn't see that one. Maybe you'll dig that one up for me.
Period. They don't act as the agent of the federal government. They don't act as the agent of the president.
No one's saying that they're an agent, but they are bound by the supremacy clause.
The president has no role, and we cannot.
Wrong. That's not accurate either.
Allow him to sort of slide this by people as if somehow the states are doing his bidding, and therefore if they don't do the job he likes, he can go in. He can't.
Oh right. He can't. Well, it's really interesting thing, because when it comes to federal immigration law, states have no rights or say at all either. And yet we see all these people, all these judges who have jurisdiction over a state start directing the federal government what they can do. And I know that they're federal court judges, but apparently when it comes to the boundaries of authority, there's a lot of confusion here, a lot of real confusion. When states were trying to employ protecting their own borders in Texas versus Biden, because they had issues with respect to having, folks flopping across the Rio Grande trying to get into the country, and they said, hey, we're going to keep them out. All of a sudden there, you weren't really that worried about states' rights. And I understand that elections, the Constitution parses out that the states run their own elections. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the federal government saying, hey, you know what? When it comes to people you're going to be seating in the federal election, there's certain minimum yardsticks. Within those minimum yardsticks, you, under the Constitution, have the authority to do what you like. But there are certain minimum parameters. You can't decide because, well, we have state rights. States can do whatever they want. That instead of actually having like a normal type of election, that you're going to have an you're gonna have an election where every third person who walks into the building has a chance to vote twice. You don't have that. Well, states are running their own elections. Stupid. So you were mentioning that there was this question as to whether Kemp had his daughter's boyfriend.
Someone said something about it, that he said he was going to do a signature verification. Then the next day, this car blew up, and then it got canceled. So I don't know. I don't know the timeline. I didn't even realize the car blew up until I saw the story. I was like, whoa, how did I not hear that?
Yeah, let's try and break this down for you. Daughter of Georgia Governor Kemp mourns Loeffler aide, calls him her best friend. That's a tragedy. Teen daughter of Georgia Governor Brian Kemp is mourning the loss of Senator Kelly Loeffler's 20-year-old aide, calling him her best friend. Harrison Deal was killed in a car crash on I-16 in Pooler, Georgia, Friday morning, hours before Vice President Mike Pence arrived in the state to rally for Loeffler and Senator David Perdue, who are both facing Democrats in Senate runoff election in January. So this was on December 5th, 2020. It's impossible to put into words just who Harrison Deal was, Lucy Kemp, 19, said in a statement issued through a governor's office. He was so special to me, and I cannot imagine my life without him. Though I only knew him for a little over 2 years, we lived a lifetime together. He was my best friend, and the impact he had on my life will never fade. He taught me how to laugh, not take life too seriously, she said. He gave me confidence in myself I never knew I could have. He was loyal, compassionate, full of joy. I truly believe I got a glimpse of heaven in my time with Harrison. The love he showed me was beyond comprehension. I didn't deserve it, Kent continued. My heart aches at the hole he left in my heart. But oh, what a blessing it is that I can rejoice in the truth we have a sovereign God, and Harrison is at home with him, and I will see him again. Harrison's life brought others to the foot of the cross, and in this he accomplished all that we're meant we are meant for in this life. So that happened. Can we find out what day he announced that he was going to be doing an investigation? Or there really was a day earlier? Did he really make such an announcement?
I'll look it up right now.
That might be a Grok question. Let's see what else you shared here with me.
That other stuff, you would start with the Stephen Miller thing and go up. The bottom one and go up. That's not, it's kind of off topic.
It's off topic?
Well, it's about Talwani.
He borrowed ICE and DHS from using taxpayer information provided by the IRS.
Yeah, and then the order, if you look in the order, she talks about the administrative warrants, which are constitutionally suspect.
Constitutionally suspect, used by every ICE agent in the last 50 years. But yeah, sure, totally constitutionally deficient. So stupid. I'm so sickened by these civil liberties protections for illegal aliens. It's so aggravating. They really shouldn't have any at all. They shouldn't. What's this? Oh, this is the whole memo. This memo in order from Talwani.
Yeah.
So this is the longer period. There's a longer thing of it. I'm not going to deal with that. All right.
Okay. This says that this says Georgia Governor Kemp called for a signature audit of the absentee ballots on November 20th. So when did the car accident happen? On November 23rd, he formalized this.
December 4th is when it was.
So it wasn't
still pretty close in time.
Wasn't the next day.
You want some good news?
Sure.
Because I do have some good news for you and all our friends here, all the people who are seeking accountability. You know how we hate all these judges. There's one judge who she is just based and badass. One U.S. District Court judge who's based and badass, and that would be what the left considers notorious, no doubt, and the right heralds as a woman who just cares about justice and doesn't care about flack from the left about it. I'm referring, of course, to Judge Eileen Cannon. What did Eileen Cannon do now? Man who tried to kill Trump sentenced to life in prison. Remember Ryan Ruth? Ryan Ruth, the lunatic who was like all in love with Ukraine. Yeah, you're not going to be seeing him anytime soon. Because apparently, U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon sentenced Ryan Ruth, the man convicted of attempting to assassinate President Trump, to life in prison on Wednesday, denying his request for a lighter sentence. Ruth's attorney had argued that a 27-year sentence would be sufficient, claiming the failed plot caused no actual harm. Federal prosecutors countered, emphasizing that while citizens can oppose political candidates in lawful ways, murder is never an acceptable form of dissent.
Well, that's weird, because what did that guy who tried to kill Justice Kavanaugh get? Didn't he only get like 3 or 4 years or something because he decided to go trans?
Is that what happened there?
Yes.
Well, I'm very pleased to see that this freaking lunatic is being sent away for the balance of his natural life. That is actually
who the judge was. It was one of those weirdo leftist judges that says like, "Oh, your struggles and everything. It's going to be much harder for you in prison because of your trans."
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, 4 years in a woman's prison. Yeah.
Yeah. I had here. What was this? I don't remember this. I don't know what this is. It was back to the Tulsi Gabbard thing, but we're gonna move on from that story now. Let's move on. One more thing that you're really gonna enjoy. I love this clip. This is a woman known as Notorious Lizzie. Did you hear about Notorious Lizzie?
No.
You don't know who Notorious Lizzie is? That's because you're not a leftist. If you're a leftist, you would know who she is. That's Notorious Lizzie.
Oh, my God. Oh, I could smell her from here.
The cat in the background. There's always a cat.
He has to wear that mask from all the smell of the cat piss. And
there's always a cat.
Yeah. She's got that, what's it called? Neuroplasia. What's it called? Neuroplasia stuff from all the cat urine.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, there's like an actual disease that women get from cats that makes them crazy.
Really?
It's like a legit. I'll find it. It's crazy.
Get out of here. This would explain so much. This would explain so much. All right, check this woman out.
Federal officials say the government is doing its job, enforcing the borders.
Ice, we ain't gonna play you wanna fight?
Isn't she such a badass?
Keep sucking daddy.
This is protesters and police clash. Tensions escalating. Extraordinary deployment of California.
Such a badass.
It's called toxoplasmosis. It's caused by a parasite. It can affect humans and been linked to behavioral changes, including increased risk-taking, potential associations with mental health issues like schizophrenia.
Why would you say such a thing given the video we're watching now? Listen to this woman.
That's where the term crazy cat lady comes from.
Get the gear and get outside. If you can, of course.
A cat in the background here. Always a cat. A big fat cat. So that was her message. Well, it was her message.
Today is Monday, February 2nd, 2026, and I'm coming at you with some news that I really did not want to have to come to you with, which is I just received a call from a lawyer telling me that the federal government is going to charge me. And my options were to A, turn myself in tomorrow morning, which will be the 3rd of February, or wait for them to serve a warrant and knock down my door. So tomorrow I'm being charged with 18-USC-111. I don't know much
Obstructing ICE.
information other than that.
For ramming her vehicle allegedly into ICE.
Oh, so it's not for the video. It's for some actions that she took.
For ramming her car or her vehicle into ICE.
Morning. Clearly I've been crying. Here's what I will say. I'm so incredibly grateful for community and who have reached out and who are trying to help.
You know, if you ram your car into ICE, do you know what kind of penalties you could be facing?
8 years, I think.
10.
10? Oh.
10. That's what she's potentially looking at and hopefully gets.
Lawyers and advocacy.
No, Midnight Toker, you cannot fix her. Don't even attempt it.
Internet. I will tell you that there's going to be a different page that is active. I'm going to have to take this page private.
So the rest of this is going to be a pitch to please send me money.
But you can find out more information at Notoriously Lizzie.
Mm-hmm.
There is a link in my bio to get you connected to that.
Yeah.
That's going to be running that and updating it with information in case they do not let me.
Goodbye.
There's also a GoFundMe on there.
They probably will.
Oh, you can't have a GoFundMe. See, now they need, if GoFundMe lets these people raise money for crimes, they're violating their own terms of service. They're opening themselves up to a class action lawsuit that shows that they're biased to a specific political persuasion.
Interesting.
They have terms of service that says no raising money for criminal defense.
Really?
Yes.
For my friend and I, currently right now, I'm the only one who has received charges. We just don't know how that's going to look moving forward. But please share this. This is insane. This is absolutely insane.
She's an expert on insane. She looks in the mirror every day.
You know, I have my own Give, Send, Go that's active right now, you know.
Do you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because I have...
Oh, yeah, for the gun gag Trump, right?
No, that's that one I closed out. That's closed. That one's not active anymore. No, but I have a new one. I have a new one now, which is after yesterday when I saw that the authors of all the journalists who were fired, you know, started Give, Send, Go for the journalists. So I opened up my WAPO melted my brain. And basically explain how I, as a podcaster, am obligated to read articles from these crazy woke journalists, and it's melted my brain. That was actually, I created it on stream last night when I had Sin on.
Yeah, I can tell. You look very sad in that picture, like crying.
Because WAPO melted my brain. Right. That's because Washington Post melted my brain. So I'm raising money there. If you're looking to give there, it's givesendgo.com/WAPO, as in Washington Post. WAPO melted my brain. So I'm looking to raise $750,050.
That's just to cover your, your therapy sessions.
700,000. Because if the ones who created the wrong were looking to raise $350,000, they're the ones who visited the harm upon me. That's how I came up with 700,000, and then the 50 is the money I had to pay for my subscription to Washington Post. So, yeah, that's basically. That's if you're interested there, and people like giving. I count it towards the goal. Also, if we have a goal up, I count donations here toward the goal. So just you can bear that in mind. Also, you don't have to do it through YouTube. You see, I'll even pull up. Mama Hutch here gave 2 hours ago. Most people gave earlier. Most people gave last night. But Mama Hutch gave $10. That's what I'm saying is if someone gave $10 here, I totally would count that toward tonight's goal, especially if they reference the goal. So this poor woman is facing charges. That's good news. People say Pam Bondi doesn't do nothing. People say she doesn't do nothing. Liz Didi says a Chinese national stole voter data sent back to China. Oh. That was what she was referencing here with FBI on Chinese voter data breach. Okay, I don't know what they do with voter data unless you're saying they want to vote for us. Maybe that's what it is. Julio Scissors, thank you so much for getting me. Julio Scissors, in case you don't recognize, that is Spock in the episode of The Apple where he's playing some Vulcan harp or something like that. But it was The Apple. Almost. Not The Apple. Nope. The Apple is the one with Val. No, this is the one with the way to Eden. What was it called? Oh gosh, now I'm drawing a blank. But it was like the 60 hippies who took over the ship. 1428 watching, 308 likes. For shame! 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 308 likes. Then you wonder why no one pops up here. 308 likes. How is that possible? How is that possible? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's terrible. I should be like 1,000. I should be like 1,000 likes here. Thank you for pointing that out, Tammy. Thank you for calling that out. It deserves to be called out. Uzelian shared this link earlier. I don't know what this is. Computer expert hacks Dominion voting machine in front of judge, changes vote with a big pen. Yeah, that was a long time ago. It was a year ago, January 23rd, 2024. 2 years ago, excuse me. Yeah, it's very easy to hack. It's terribly easy to hack into those voting systems. All right. What else do I have for you? Oh, for my GoFundMe, my GFU. Thank you so much. I appreciate that very, very much. I should put a link up to my thing. You mentioned this. I've been passing this story earlier. I don't know if I'm running through a couple of different smaller stories before I get to the schools weaponizing kids. So I'm sort of going around the globe today. Matt Van Swol shared this out with me. That's where I learned of this terrible story, saying I have truly horrific news. An illegal alien driving a semi-truck just crashed head-on into a van of Amish men, killing 4 of them. It appears the trucking company that employed the illegal is based out of California and is known as a chameleon carrier, which are trucking companies that re-register under new names to evade safety violations. The Amish men who lost their lives to this illegal alien are Henry Eicher, 50, his sons Menno Eicher, 25, Paul Eicher, 19, and Simon Garrod, 23. There will be no protests for them. Their story won't be in the mainstream news. Please pray for their families. It's horrible.
I think this is more for that. I don't know if you got it. I'll put it in the private chat. That one.
I
don't know if you had that or not.
I don't think I have that. Let me see what you got for me here. DHS tells Real Daily Wire that this migrant trucker was given a commercial driver's license by Pennsylvania after he crossed the border under using Biden's CBP One app. Reminder, Pennsylvania has handed out CDLs to legal immigrants tied to other such cases. The Trump administration has already threatened to withhold $75 million in federal funds from Pennsylvania if they don't revoke the CDLs from foreign drivers who are in the U.S. illegally. One of the recipients of the Pennsylvania CDL was Uzbek national Akrar Bozorov, who was released into the country under the Biden administration after crossing illegally and was wanted for distributing terrorist propaganda calling for jihad online and recruiting terrorists to join the jihad movement. Unbelievable. There's this schmuck. Look at this. It does say non-domiciled CDL. So I think that that's designed to make it clear that they can't use it to vote. You know what I'm saying? I assume non-domiciled means illegal alien. Like it's a known thing.
Well, I think that just means they don't live in the state. Non-domiciled.
I don't think that's what it means. I think it means to not.
But that star means it's a real ID.
Yeah, it's a real ID that we know who he is, but that doesn't mean. But the non-domiciled.
Really know who they are? If they're not, I mean, that's supposed to mean you're supposed to provide like birth certificate, social security card, all this information, and proof of who you are. And how do we know?
I'm
that
just
if somebody
saying.
snuck across the border.
I'm just saying it's. I don't think that this would you would hope in a place that's requiring voter ID that this would not serve to help them vote. I don't want to be an alarmist about things that are perhaps not really a problem. I'm not saying it's okay to give these guys CDLs because frankly they shouldn't be in the damn country. I don't want them here in the country at all. I'm simply saying that potential outgrowth because of the fact that I have a CDL doesn't seem to me to be a genuinely a concern that we should be genuinely invested in. Richard Parker predicting Seahawks by 20 points over the wuss Patriots. What do you think is going to happen? This weekend is the Super Bowl. Patriots taking on the Seattle Seahawks. Who do you think is going to pull it out? Do you follow football at all?
Not at all.
Not at all?
Not at all.
I don't see the Seahawks winning by 20 points. I'm just going to say that. They're a very good team. I don't see them winning by 20 points. But I do think it's going to be something. I would bet the over. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. I could be totally wrong on that. It's not something I would bet on, but if I had to bet on one thing here, I would lean towards that. And I think the Seahawks are going to win.
If we scroll down a little more, there's a little more to this from Bill Malugin.
DHS confirms Fox News semi-truck driver arrested for causing a head-on crash in Indiana killed 4 people on Tuesday is a Kyrgyzstani national who entered the U.S. Biden's administrative CPP One cell phone app on 12/19/23. Look at what he did to this truck. Oh my God! No one, you can tell no one's walking out of that. Wow. Wow. Horrible. Just terrible.
Duck Fat wanted me to remind you, tell you that he's gonna if you're gonna increase your Give Send Go by $150 plus interest and rant reminder fees to pay me, whatever that means. I don't know. Maybe it'll help him reach his goal. I don't know. I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
I have no idea what he's talking about. I don't know what he's talking about. Did he actually send me an email? Have I gotten that email from him yet?
I don't know.
J.H. Schwalbeck says, off topic. He thought I was going to forget to check locals, but when you just said remind me. During the Trump impeachment, this is from J.H. Schwalbeck, they stated that the Russians wanted to sow discord in the U.S. elections. Comey, Clapper, Brennan did this. Isn't this what they did? Can't we bring a RICO case against them for this? I'm so sad nothing is getting done on this. I am furious at Pam Bondi for this. So furious. What the hell is wrong with that woman? It's insanity. that we haven't seen anything. Tulsi Gabbard brought this issue up in July. We're now 7 months out from when that issue was first brought to our attention, and we see nothing indicating that there's any movement. I mean, I understand going after Obama takes cojones that are probably far bigger than any balls that will ever be,
I think you bite off the people around him. You go after like Jake Sullivan, people like that, and the people around him.
Comey, Clapper, Brennan. It's so aggravating.
Well, Norm Eisman and then
Norm Eisman,
Elias
yeah.
too, and Elias got to get them.
Yeah. It's horrifying and nothing's happened.
I think I have to address the fact that I don't watch football because when they put the names of murderers and rapists on their helmets, I said I was done. And when I say I'm done, I'm done.
It's so weird that you just brought that up because I had the most random thing in the world that I was like, I don't know how I'm going to segue this into this show. You were talking about football players and murderers on their helmets. Out of the blue, just randomly, I was like, wow, this is really interesting. And I don't know how I'll work it into a show because it's just like a 30-second clip. This is a juror from the O.J. Simpson trial who had an interview recently.
Do you think that they're members of the jury that voted to acquit O.J. because of Rodney King?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
How many of you think felt that way?
Oh, probably 90% of us.
90% of the people who acquitted OJ was because of Rodney King, that they were angry about Rodney King.
90%? Did you feel that way?
Yes.
That was payback.
Uh-huh.
You think that's right?
Yeah.
Wow. I saw that. I was like, I have to let my audience know this. And your entire life, you heard about the acquittal. And I remember that one of the jurors reportedly walked out and raised his fist in the air after they voted not guilty, which everyone took as a sign that this was, what they
it was
wanted.
payback for the trial that happened, that they moved the trial of the 4 cops. I can't remember their names.
Rodney King.
I'm saying the names of the cops. So they moved their trial to out of LA to a suburb that was mostly white, and they were acquitted. So,
yeah.
There is a big study there's actually a very interesting study. I could look for it for another day.
It's 30 years later, and we get 35. I don't even know, 35 years later.
In general, there's a study that they did tracking voting habits in juries depending on racial makeup, and it's very enlightening, per se.
Yeah. And in those, I shared with you, once we're talking about crazy psychopaths like OJ, I do have more good news for you all. And that is that this guy, you remember this guy, this lunatic, who I'm telling you in case I have some guy from a foreign country doesn't understand, I do not stand for anything alongside anything this guy is about to say. But you might remember Antifa Kyle.
My name is Kyle. I'm Antifa, and there's so much rage in me that I've had to record this 15 times trying to get the message out. They fucked up, okay? Go watch my other videos. Doesn't matter if you're not here and you're not caught up. You've missed the fucking fight. But if you are, it's time to suit up. Boots on the ground. Nicollet and fucking 26th. My house is 4 blocks away. Anywhere between Franklin and Nicollet and 26th and Nicollet. Show up, ready to go. Okay, not talking about peaceful protests anymore. We're not talking about having polite conversations anymore. I am talking specifically to my fucking followers. This is everything I have fucking talked about, and this is exactly what I said was going to happen. This is exactly what I said was going to fucking come when we didn't fucking go and march on fucking Whipple with guns.
Oh.
Sorry.
There he goes. That's the
this
word.
is what your brain on meth looks like, folks.
Yeah. So he's basically calling for an insurrection. That was Antifa Kyle. And the next day he was crying that he was scared that he was in trouble of being arrested. That's well, breaking. The DOJ has announced that this guy has been arrested. DOJ announced they arrested the Minnesota Antifa crossdresser who called for people to take up arms against federal agents, because this is him, and this is also
Boots on the ground. Nicollet and fucking
this is also
26th. My house is 4 blocks away. Anywhere between Franklin.
Look at this sicko. Wow. Yeah, so this lunatic over here is basically, he's been arrested. Who would think when you see a fine person like this that they might be deranged in the head?
Interesting.
Here are heavily armed DHS agents executing their pre-dawn raid on Antifa Kyle. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. They had to smash the windows because he barricaded himself in there.
Oh yeah, I heard they had an actual warrant and they wouldn't let the apartment wouldn't open the door even though they had a warrant.
Yep.
So they're like,
It's
all right,
like,
we'll break the door.
okay. They came ready to go. They're like, we don't know who's there. Like, seeing this makes me want to sign up and join ICE.
I know there was just, I'll look for it and I'll pull it up for you. There was just a bill put forward in Congress by, I think Schmidt, to make using those whistles or megaphones in a way that interferes with ICE a crime. I don't know if it's constitutionally sound because it's like, well, but I don't know. You know, I'm not a lawyer.
Supreme Court has expressly cited you're allowed to use whistles when you're observing ICE.
They did?
Not ICE, but federal agents engaged in their activities.
Really?
It's considered peaceful protest. Yeah. I disagree with the logic also. Because I think once you reach a certain decibel level, it's potentially damaging. And it's no way it's not affecting their ability to carry out their duties. But I'm against the Supreme Court on this one.
Hey, back up! Back up! Back up!
They're not happy. Look at how many of them come out. This is before dawn. This is not right after dark. This is this morning before dawn.
What are you afraid of? You guys have families? Fucking go home to your own families and leave us alone.
Anyhow, so there you go. That was from the pre-dawn raid. That was from the pre-dawn raid. And that's my news from around the world. I want to start talking to you all about we go from these lunatics screaming at ICE to our schools, which are basically teaching children to hate ICE.
This put something in the private chat that about the schools that will be a teacher telling the white students to remind them how privileged they are.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll make sure to pull that up. I want to start with this one. This is what Pramila Jayapal.
Oh God.
Proudly shared out. Our children are watching and they're demanding action. This is horrific. This is child abuse.
Dear ICE agents. Dear Immigration and Custom Enforcement. Dear ICE.
These kids certainly have no way of understanding the significance or importance or what it is that they're just being, their minds are being turned to mush by their teachers and or parents.
Hey ICE. Dear ICE agents.
He was never detained by ICE. He was never detained by ICE. He was protected. He was not detained by ICE any more than a kid at school or a kid at a nanny is detained by ICE or detained by their teacher. It's the most asinine description in the world to call him detained by ICE. They're protecting this kid after his own dad abandoned him.
Dear ICE agents, I hope you're respectful to everyone and show kindness. I also hope you respect all people from all different countries and around the world.
Horrible. It's horrible how they're poisoning these poor little kids.
I think as a community, we should respect people's homes and the people themselves. These people are important to us and others. We should treat everyone the same, even if we don't know them.
This gets me so angry.
I think after losing someone I love, this kind of makes me sad, but I hope everyone can still have their loved ones next to them.
Nearly 20% of students are learning virtually because they fear being abducted. I do not believe that remotely true. I don't think that's remotely true. 20% of students. Ridiculous.
You are scaring schools, people, and the world. You should be kind, helpful, and
Look at how they're poisoning to think that ICE is evil.
caring like normal
They're sickening.
police, not dangerous, scary, and stealing people.
Look at how they're telling them that they're stealing people. I mean, this is horrific. This is horrific.
The teachers union are being behind all these protests, man. The No Kings protest, Women's March, all these anti-Trump. The teacher, Randy Weingarten and the teachers unions are firmly in this. That's why they all happen on days off. And you can see that a lot of the people they're bussed in, they're teachers. Some of them are retired, some of them are ex-teachers. That's who's doing this. This is what they figured it out. If they take over the schools and they get them young, they can brainwash them. And that's what they've been doing. And it's been happening it's been ramped up. Started in the 70s.
Look at these poor innocent little minds. I genuinely feel bad for this little girl, all the kids in this.
I think you should make friends with the world.
Look at this pathetic.
Love a Valley View student.
Ridiculous.
You right now, you're making people get really sad because
Your teachers are making you sad for no reason.
you're just taking them away without them doing anything.
It's not just with this either, Joe. They're doing this. The schools are doing this over climate change. They're doing it over all types of other stuff. Just scaring the shit out of kids. Do what we tell you or you're all going to die.
Yeah.
That's what they've been doing.
Yeah.
That's what we got to. How dare you, Greta girl?
Yeah.
Ice that if you were getting taken by ice, you would feel miserable.
Keep going, guys.
My teacher said to keep this kind, so I'm going to write a poem. I know you're following orders. Please.
I know you're following orders.
Don't send them out the borders.
I would think that this is actually a major problem if the teachers are instructing them to do this. These teachers are engaged in political activity, which is a violation of the law. They're not supposed to be doing this shit. They're state actors. And they're pushing a political agenda. They're paid
What's
by
the
the
violation?
state. There's got to be a violation. There's got to be a violation. It's got to be against the law.
I don't know about that.
I mean,
What's
if
the
there's,
violation?
I don't know. It's got to be some form of the Hatch Act, I would imagine.
I don't think so.
They're paid by our tax
That's
dollars.
politicians.
Yeah, but they're not. No, it doesn't. I don't care. Something. Lock them up.
The mortars of hate. But I believe there are birds whose songs of love aren't heard by people who need to care. You want me to talk about Liam?
Yeah, would you mind?
Look at how scared am I talking about Liam with the lies about Liam. You want me to talk about Liam? Like as if he's like a victim here rather than being protected by these sick, twisted animals who did this to this poor girl.
Sharing some stories about him?
Liam was a pre-K from Valley View, and he was taken by the ICE agent.
Nope. See, this is how they poison them.
And he was also wearing a bunny hat, and his name was Conejo, which means bunny in Spanish. So that's what the bunnies represent him. I would say to Liam that I hope he is safe.
Of course he's safe. The reason he's safe is because of ICE.
How would you feel if he came back to class?
Happy because he was taken.
He was taken. See that? He was taken. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. This teacher should be doxxed and shamed for what she did to these kids. Should be doxxed and shamed. This has been going on. There's been a lot of reports about this week. This is from earlier this week. We have a mother here this is Food Lady 5 in Portland, who is, the school has 11, 12, 13, and 14-year-old children standing in pouring rain holding signs saying F ICE, F Trump, and chanting the same.
You have children in Oregon. This school is out and they're all holding signs. All for ICE. You have got to be kidding me. This has to be a joke, right? None of them are in school. None of them. We're going to drive by real slow. None of these people are in school. All about ICE. Are you fucking kidding me? You've got to be fucking kidding me. These are young children. This is fucking crazy.
It is. It is crazy.
This is fucking crazy. What the fuck?
Unbelievable.
They're fucking children. This is Kellogg Middle School in Portland, Oregon. The children are out protesting when they need to be in school. I would rip my kid out of school so fucking fast. It wouldn't even be a question.
It's horrible.
Are you fucking kidding me? It is pouring fucking rain, and you have children.
I mean, I don't care about the fact that it's raining. Here's another story. Washington mother is going viral after removing her daughter from school when she found out an Auburn middle school let students walk out to protest ICE and block traffic.
This is my daughter's middle school. Being allowed to protest ICE agents, disrupting traffic, having everyone home. I'm pulling my child from school today.
Insanity. They're literally trying to weaponize our children against us.
This is fucking unbelievable.
All right, so she comes on through here. Let's see if we.
Okay. When she's down here, I will sign. Are you serious?
Because there's unfortunately some parental agreements where
Every time I bring it in, she doesn't check it because she knows me. That's interesting.
That's okay. I just want to make sure you're we'll get it for you. We're just erring on the side of caution.
Yeah, this is it. What about the other side? What about my family?
Anyway, so she's trying to pull her kid out. I'm just trying to let you get a feel for just how widespread this is. There actually is, with this Olympic middle school, there actually is a happy ending to this particular story. Give me a moment. I'll find it here. Where are you? Dagnabbit. Dagnabbit.
I did put those links for that story about the mother who's going to sue the school over her kid getting hit by the school sanctioned protests.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm going to pull that up in a moment. I just want to follow up on the Olympic middle school thing because I did share that out. Let me just do a quick. And do a quick. Here it is.
I just saw too that they're finally a Tennessee appeals court finally said that those writings of that Covenant school shooter, you know, whatever. Remember in Tennessee, the trans school shooter, that they've been hiding the writings and trying to arrest anybody and tried to go after Crowder and them for them. They're saying no, that stuff can be made public. It has to be made public. The manifesto. So we'll see what happens with that. It was 6 hours ago.
I want to stay over here on this Olympic. This is the principal of that Olympic high school that we were just looking at was fired for, they're saying, for forcing students to participate in off-campus activities protesting ICE.
The principal of Olympic Middle School was fired because she encouraged students to participate in ICE-related off-campus activities without prior consultation with parents. After learning about the situation, the mother of one of the students clearly expressed her opposition to her child's participation in any form of off-campus protest. However, the school authorities later expelled the student on the grounds of leaving school in violation of regulations. As the incident...
They expelled the student.
Was exposed.
Did they expel all the students or just the one?
The one who was pulled out for leaving school.
Parents began to speak out. It turned out that the principal had clearly conveyed to the students that if they did not act under the unified command of the school, they would face the risk of being expelled. This statement soon caused a tense atmosphere on campus, and many students were forced to express their opinions under pressure. Under the pressure of public opinion, the school district focused on reviewing the principal's decision-making approach throughout the incident and whether he abused his management power. Eventually, the principal neglected student safety during the handling process and crossed the boundaries that education should have. The school decided to fire him. What's your opinion on this?
Her. It's her, not him. So, yeah. And it's not clear that she got fired because of this or something else. The timing is interesting, but Charles is saying 18 U.S. Code 1038 giving false information. I want to look that up. 18 U.S. 1038. We'll pull this up. I'll see if I think that it. I'll give you my opinion as to whether this works. Whoever engages in any conduct with intent to convey false or misleading information under circumstances where such information may reasonably be believed, and where such information indicates that an activity has taken, is taken, or will take place that will constitute a violation of Chapter 2, 10, 11, I'm not sure what these are, or 13, or 111, or they'll be fined, and if serious bodily injury results, be fined, so they'll get up to 5 years. Now, I don't know what these different sections are. Start looking these up. It's aircraft and motor vehicles. What? Will take place that would constitutionally. So if they're causing people to believe that something has happened related to 210 as biological weapons. 11B is, I don't even know, 39. No, that's not helping.
I think for that to to work, you would have to have something else happen as a result of it.
Explosives. No, I don't think you have to have that. I don't see that. You say whoever's engaging in conduct with an intent to convey false or misleading information, where such information may reasonably be believed, and where such information indicates an activity has taken, is taking, or will take place. So they're saying that people are being kidnapped, assuming that that's listed in one of these numbers. In that case, that would be a violation.
Oh, okay.
But this is
I saw
manufacture of distribution of explosive materials. Look at all the work I'm doing for you, Charles. Go. Just because I'm hoping you're right. This is firearms. Doesn't seem like that's what they're saying about ICE. Did I just do 44? I did do 44. 111 is obstruction of police acts of shipping. 18 USC. Violence against AIDS. 111. I don't know that it's counted here. 113B is not going to be here. Yeah, so I don't know that they're misleading people on these particular things. Unless someone can point me to a specific one that I'm missing here. So anyway, I got a lot more of these students here. They're everywhere. Middle schools in Utah staged a walkout to protect ICE, and this is going to set me up for what Jim shared with me, I think. Middle schools in Utah staged a walkout protest ICE. They threw stuff at cars, vandalized buses, and protested through stores. Schools are turning your kids into leftist. Look at this insanity. Literally weaponizing our kids to just go terrorizing through stores.
Jathan. No hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here, no hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here, no hate. I see you, Freddie. I see you. Hey, get out of the fucking road.
Unbelievable. It is. It's a mind rape.
What's going to happen, Joe, when 50 to 60% of these kids realize that they were lied to, and that the immigrants took their jobs and caused their rents to go up and inflation to be crazy, and the reason they can't survive, and they're stealing all the benefits and doing all this other stuff, and their lives suck because they can't get ahead and can't work and can't do anything because
this is why
they let in.
This is why leftists leave children stupid. They intentionally leave them stupid. It's all over.
Ronnie! Where do you want me to? I'm gonna go get McDonald's. Where do you want me to meet you? Okay. Hey. Immigrants are welcome. No fear. Immigrants are welcome. No fear. Immigrants are welcome. No fear. Immigrants are welcome. Hey.
We have to stop funding the schools altogether. We really do. We need to stop funding them altogether.
No fear. Immigrants are welcome. No fear. Hey. Here.
This is horrible.
Sorry. Oh, Santos pissed.
Bro. Free bro.
Qué lindo, la puta madre. Ya cuántas personas. Ya cuántas personas.
So there you go. It just goes on and on. These are all different schools. Now, I don't know what percentage of these kids actually believe in this BC, and what percentage of them are just excited to basically have a free day, which is very possible that 75% of them. Here's audio from inside the PSAD school's classroom. This is another form of brainwashing. Reveals teacher telling students that President Trump is a child molester.
You can find it for yourselves if you'd like, but we have a president that's a child molester. And the testimony multiple times showed that he misbehaved with 13 and 14-year-old girls. And it's in there. It's
just flat out lies to her students like this.
Public knowledge. It's there for you guys to look at if you want. It's pretty disgusting.
You're pretty disgusting.
Would anyone like me to read a section for you? It's a current event. Would you like to know? Okay, ready? This person, and there's a blank for the whistleblower, reported an unidentified female friend who was forced to perform oral sex on President Trump approximately 35 years ago in New Jersey. The friend told Alexis that she was approximately 13 to 14 years old when this occurred, and the friend allegedly bit President Trump while performing this act. The friend was allegedly hit in the face after she laughed about biting him, President Trump. The friend said she was also abused by Epstein at the same time.
Of course.
That's just the first sentence. That's the first paragraph.
So some lunatic, basically anything that they read doesn't matter what lunatic wrote it. This is what they're passing along as that's obviously what happened. Yeah. So we saw what was happening in Utah there, how they had those protests there. You had that thing that you shared with me. Which of these links am I supposed to be pulling up for that? The bottom three?
Yeah, the bottom three. Start top to bottom.
Okay. Cool. So we were covering the protests out in Utah. I'm not sure if this is from the same protest or not. I don't want to mislead anyone. The mother of a child hit by a car during an anti-ICE protest is blaming the school for facilitating the protest without taking steps to protect the students. This could lead to an interesting lawsuit as schools play direct roles in fueling protests. This is from Fremont High School. What?
There was another little bit from him in the next link down. There was a second.
The mother says that the daughter was allowed to make materials in school for the protest. Schools around the country are allowing teachers and students to skip classes to protest against immigration enforcement. Let's see what we got here.
Wish you could advance your career without interrupting it? eCornell offers flexible online certificate programs.
The mother of a Fremont High School student hit by an SUV during a protest is angry with school officials.
She tells First Alert 6 students should have been in school and not outside participating in an anti-ICE protest. John Chapman spoke with a girl hit by the SUV.
The Fremont High School student who was hit by an SUV during a student protest is at home recovering. She says she's doing fine, just some bumps and bruises and a little sore.
Oh, that's that kid. That's that girl. Ah. Got run over by the Trump guy. This is the one where I was like, tell me what the difference is between this kid and Renee Good. He was being surrounded by these idiots, and he basically took off. What makes him any different from Renee Good? Other than the fact that the person standing in his way, because she ran at his car, was not a federal officer and had no authority to stand in his way, as opposed to a federal officer who did have the authority. What makes them any different?
I think it mostly got me in my legs because my knees are really what's bugging me right now.
You were stupid for running into a car.
Okay. Did you see it at all? Did you see the car at all?
Of course she did.
All I remember was that
She ran at it.
The girl's mother is upset. She feels this entire incident should have never happened.
No, not at all. I'm angry. First of all, I don't feel that she is informed enough to have made a decision like the one that she made by doing a protest. I don't.
Some of you are saying that she flopped, like she was like doing a LeBron here. Like she wasn't. Foul. Oh, come on. She totally flopped that one. Everyone knows she totally flopped that.
I feel that any of the young people that were involved know enough about what's going on to do or set up a protest, because I don't feel they know what they're protesting.
The mother of the student hit by the SUV believes the high school bears some responsibility for what happened.
Of course she does, because that's a deeper pocket than the kid.
My daughter was allowed to make her poster in class, in school to career class.
What was that, brother?
She needs to say the daughter was instructed to make the poster by the teacher. That's where they need to go with this. Not they were allowed. They were instructed to do this. They were encouraged to do this. They were told to do any number of these things. That's what your no. That's what your good attorney would tell you. It's like no. Your daughter was instructed to do this, not allowed. Like they told her. Someone told her, right? Who told her to make the sign?
There. Let's be clear here.
Let's be clear.
Let's be clear.
Yes.
At the deposition, that's where you're like, when you said allowed, you don't mean allowed, it's simply allowed, but you are saying that they instructed her, aren't you?
Yes. You do mean that someone directed her to make the posters or told her what was appropriate, told them use this time if you guys want to use this time to make the posters for your protest, go ahead, something along those lines, right?
It's actually during deposition prep that you would tell the mother, or tell the student. So when they ask this question, I'm just going to point out here that, you kind of have more of, I'm not telling you what to say, but, the school told you to do it is kind of, it's what I understood happened here. I certainly don't want you to lie, but you tell me, because my understanding here is that they're on the hook here because they told you to do this. Oh, yeah, they told me to do it.
Okay, good.
All right, good. So if that's what happened, then that's definitely what you're going to need to tell them at the deposition.
And why weren't they paying more attention to what these kids were doing? I feel the school is quite a bit at fault for this.
There are some students at Fremont High who are concerned this incident will damage the school's reputation.
Probably damage the car.
I'm John Chapman, First Alert 6.
Concerned it'll damage the school's reputation.
Fremont Public Schools issued a statement on student safety at Fremont High School. They say they were told about the walkout yesterday. The district says, quote, staff were reminded of the importance of remaining nonpartisan in conversations with students. Schools are not permitted to physically prevent students from leaving campus or gathering on public sidewalks. Students who chose to participate in the walkout were marked with an unverified absence, and parents were notified. The safety and well-being of our students is our highest priority. Staff were present throughout the situation to help monitor student activity and to encourage safe, peaceful behavior.
Well, apparently not enough staff. That's what the lawyer is going to say. Not enough staff. Is the other links? What are we doing with the other links? Do I need those too?
No, those were the same. You just went through them. Those are basically the links for everything.
Cool. So I'm going to ask you, Jim, because I want your feedback here. And I guess if you're eavesdropping on my conversation with Jim and you have thoughts, I'll take your feedback too. There is a freedom of speech thing here. And to the extent that they're teaching students to become active and vocal, there's always going to be baked in, I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. There's always going to be baked in some sort of political differences as far as like what is a healthy approach for America versus what's an unhealthy approach. So if you have a teacher who gets up there and advocates for a position that they think is healthy, is that necessarily, assuming that they don't lie to the kids, assuming they're truthful with the kids, and they might perhaps focus on the facts that are most compelling for their persuasive for their position, is that something that school is necessarily doing wrong?
I thought there was a Supreme Court case about that. I'm trying to think. They're not supposed to engage in any like advocate for any politicians or any political party. They're generally, if it's like a discussion that they're talking about, like current events type of thing, and different, I think they could get away with a lot of stuff. But like they used to get in trouble. Teachers used to get they'd lose their job over any type of advocacy. And there was a case. What was it? I'll find it. Hold on. I'm trying to think of it. What's a Supreme Court case? Something like Teetles case. Something like that. Let me just Google that.
Here's another one with this guy while you're looking that up. Sterling Bowles, superintendent for Franklin LaPel in Indiana. This is Indiana, for crying out loud. I mean, how much redder could it get? Emailed families and staff stating that he recognizes the importance of the students' anti-ICE walkout and that staff will be supervising the protest. And someone said about this is the school district that fired me on February 14, 2020 for warning people about what was happening and how they were abusing children. They said I was far-right radical conspiracy theorist.
Tinker.
And I was making them look bad. Oh, yeah, the Tinker case. That comes up in Supreme Court a lot. But Tinker, I think, is about students who are doing things against the wishes of the school.
Yeah, but it talks about both teachers and students and basically says that they can't, that schools can put restrictions on what teachers can say during.
Schools can, but they don't have to. And that's the point. So that's why I don't know if Tinker actually is going to...
But I think almost every state has laws about public school teachers talking politics, basically. Both parties, neither one of them wants teachers politically, indoctrinating kids.
Well, that would be ideal. That would be ideal. It's sickening how, especially when you're talking about these little kids here and poisoning them to basically fear ICE. I think it's a type of abuse. I think that these people should never be around children at all. This is like someone telling over a kid. It's no different from someone talking to a kid and telling them that they're that their parents are a threat, that they're going to cause them physical and get graphic with the sexual harm, and just lie to them like that. It's no different. You're basically freaking these kids out for no reason other than to suit your own political agenda. These are people who are a hazard to children. These are people who who should be humiliated for the roles they're playing in trying to poison these kids' minds. This to me is no less disgusting than someone talking to a 6-year-old about, you know, some sickening type of depravity that his fourth period teacher is going to do to them. How's it any different? But they're just saying, instead of saying a fourth period teacher, they're saying ICE. They're going to kidnap you. They're going to harm you. They hate you. They're evil. It's like, what, you're a 5-year-old kid. What are they supposed to do with that information other than just get freaked out and say, please don't do that. Please don't do that. It's horrible. These people are monsters. They're really monsters. And they come in under the guise of like concern, like trying to educate the child. Biggest monsters in the world. Feeling neglected, skipping my super chats, maybe leaving, going to miss the followers the most in the summer bonfires with drums and dancing. When did I, what?
You covered his super chat, the one about the Seattle Seahawks and all this. I don't know what he's talking about.
What are you talking about? Yeah, you sent the thing about the Seattle Sea. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, I skipped this. I missed this one. That wasn't intentional. That wasn't intentional. I actually had a whole thought about this that I was going to give you back to this. So I apologize that I missed this. Don't get all freaked out of me, Richard, like that. Come on. We know each other a long time. I'm not trying to skip your super chat here. I was trying to get to it at a moment when I had a moment, and I did end up forgetting it because I saw this chat that came up directing me to a law. So I'm sorry for skipping that. But I'll tell you this much. With respect to your point here about the Seahawks, I'm just going to make the following point, that the Seahawks, they weren't playing the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos have like the best defense in football. The Seahawks defense is pretty good at themselves. I'm saying you're playing against the Rams. That's not the same thing as playing against the freaking Broncos. Who did the Patriots play a week before that? I don't remember. Oh yeah, they played. What did they play? Houston, another top defense. You can't go based on postseason points when they're playing. They're playing against two of the top defenses out there. 18 points against, averaging 18 points. Who is it? I think they played the Texans. Texans and Denver Broncos are two top 5 defenses in the NFL. So putting up 18 points against them is not that bad. Now, frankly, I would agree with you that I think the Seahawks are up there also. But and I do think the Seahawks are going to win. And I'm actually pulling for the Seahawks to win. I hate the Patriots. I'm sick of them. But, yeah. Anyhow, I think that pretty much is all I had on this.
I have one more thing for you to pull up. Someone just sent me.
Hands One Peck says the gold star. If you think I'm bad to you, Richard, you should see how terrible I am to the ghetto. I feel terrible how I try to go back in there. The gold star is Real ID, but Real ID does not prove citizenship. Just documents were checked and recorded. If it had a U.S. flag, that shows citizenship. Thank you for clarifying that. Real Patriots Party says, Joe, it was the way to Eden. Yes, the way to Eden. Yay, brother. The way Eden you were thinking of, but you're wrong about the picture. The picture was from Charlie X when Uhura sings and Charlie mutes her voice a few seconds later. Oh, that could be. That could be. That would make sense too.
Yeah, I'll just share it.
It could have been from Charlie X. I didn't think of that. Eat all the fruit and throw away the rind. Yeah, brother. What do you got for me here?
Just pull this up. There you go.
A New York school district lets school students try on hijabs at school in honor of World Hijab Day. The Fairport Central School District near Rochester, New York, said the event was hosted by the Muslim Student Association. Wow. 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 Wow.
I thought we had a separation of, freedom of religion, separation of church and state. They're not supposed to be pushing religion in schools. I mean, seems like that would be like, what if Joe went and brought a bunch of kippas for people to try on, and
It's funny.
matzah and everything else, you know.
There you go. I'm going nowhere, Joe, just stirring the pot. All right. It's sadistic. What they're doing to these children is horrible. It's terrible. These people just burn in hell. Really burn in hell. Why is that any worse than physical abuse? Why?
I think mental abuse is worse sometimes.
Yeah, it is. It's far worse. It's in many ways it's longer lasting often. All right. I think that covers it. I'm sort of torn on the goal because
I don't know where you landed.
Well, when I look at the goal, it's showing on YouTube 7 out of 15. That's what's showing, 7 out of 15, which frankly is a little disappointing. I'm not too thrilled with the likes. That also got me a little bothered. Where are we at on the likes? We're 475 likes. By now, we should have been way over 500. There's 1,200 people watching here now.
Well, there was over. Someone just came in to make you happy.
Someone came in to make me happy. That does make me happy. I was about to say, because of what we had over in the ghetto, and also JH over in locals, that I was going to give it to us, and I was going to give it in anyway. That's really where I was going. That's where I was going with all of this. But I appreciate this all the same. So God bless you, brother. My Avitak. My niece's school put kids who didn't go out to protest into the gym. This is insanity. One of the staff suggested to those students others might find out. The staff also let other students in and take pictures of the students. Not forced at all, right? It's horrible. That's horrible.
Well, if this didn't make you happy, the next one definitely will.
Oh my gosh. Brian Oldenkamp coming in with 50 Good Lawgic memberships.
That's like $25 or something, right?
That's at least $25. God bless you, Brian. Thank you so much. 50 new members of the following. Oh my God. Who did you bring in here?
We're going to be here all night reading those names.
It's not going to be all night. No, we're going to get through them real quick. But the following 50 people were, God bless you, Brian, brought into the following courtesy of Brian Oldenkamp. Now, please bear in mind that while it's called the following, it's not at all a cult type of cult. There's no tracksuits, no spaceships, no throwing virgins into volcanoes, no dancing around the bonfire.
Whoa. We do have tracksuits.
Not mandatory tracksuits, mild farm work, no goat sacrifices, no squirrel mutilations. It's not at all a cult type of cult. It's just a gathering of like-minded individuals who are seeking greater personal growth through community, unity, learning, and thinking. And it's important to have learning and thinking. You need to learn things and then think about how to apply that. Community, unity, learning, and thinking. There's got to be some way to remember that quickly. I just can't remember. But I want you to bear in mind, it's not at all a cult type of cult. And I am not at all the leader of the following. I'm just a host. But part of that greater personal growth, part of that is indeed that we should express our gratitude to the person who gifted you to this gathering of what's probably the most enlightened in group of people. I don't know, in one gathering. I don't want to overstate it, so I'll just say in the last century. I don't know, maybe before that there was another gathering that was more enlightened as possible, but certainly the last century. Anyway, so you should all be expressing your gratitude to Brian Oldenkamp. That would include you. Milk Tobo, Jody Vanover, JJ Marie, Lisa Edgeworth, Brad Patterson, Paul QYT, J Sear, Color Me Triggered, 65, G Huber, Jimmy Ray, Kathy Babbage, The Great Conspiracy, Rosebuds for Fun, Wendolyn Young, Philip Vecchio, That Ginger Chick, Marucho Conqueso, Attorney Melanie Little. Hey, look at that. You got Attorney Melanie Little. Look at, oh my gosh. Hey, Attorney Melanie Little. Welcome to the following. She's someone I was actually always thinking about bringing on here. I didn't even know she watched the show, much less signed up to. I didn't know she subbed up to me. Well, I'm very flattered. Thank you, Attorney Melanie Little. OGBYN Kenobi, Mr. Mom, Jennifer LPN, Dick Saucer, Roby 1485, Mikey Mikey Great, Matthew Felty. Hey, Matthew Felty, it's been a minute. Oh, wait, he just said no horn at Good Logic. Sorry, he didn't get one.
The soundboard is not working.
Oh, it didn't work. Oh, because
No.
I didn't have my thing in. Because I moved yours. I moved yours in. I appreciate him pointing that out to me. Okay, let's do that again. This was for you, Brian Oldenkamp. I'm gonna come back to my Avatech and give him his horn also because he totally deserves it when I finish going through this. So I'm definitely gonna to go back over to that. Now I lost my place where I was. Okay, I'm gonna try to catch up where I was. Dick Sosa, Roby, Mikey Great, Matthew Felties did not get one, but I appreciate you saying no horn. Riding the Pines, Jay Wanderson, quotation points, plain old T, Matthew Phoenix, GGP Wait RQ, PW8RQ, I don't know what that is. K Smart, Original Ghoul, Karen Queen, Bobby John, Boss Mare, Susan Hilburn, Dr. Johnny Nickel, Barbell Mont, Sil Shoots, Human Wisdom That Works, Diabolic Tutor, Everyone Got an Opinion, Escape Ape, Blue Sky, John Anderson. Oh no, it jumped on me. Go back. Why did it jump? John Anderson and I'm almost done. Jem Stompy, Lee Freedom, Robot Guy 115, Andy Hoge, and Corin BFG. Welcome to the following. And again, God bless you, Brian. Thank you so very much. And I apologize to Avatech.
That was only 47 names.
Were you counting? Were you?
I was.
Were you?
I'm messing with you. I was not counting at all.
So this was for you, my Avatech. Thank you for the generous super chat. It's astonishing the level of abuse that they're willing to just inflict on people. It's crazy. It's really crazy that there's no shame. There's no shame at all in that they're going to put these kids out there and just basically say, oh yeah, everyone take pictures of them. Those are the others. It's like treat them all like they're Piggy from that Lord of the Flies. Unbelievable. Okay. I promised I was going to share with you what was going on in Virginia. Did you hear anything about what's going on in Virginia with the redistricting?
I know that they're trying to do some, take gerrymander and twist it around to, insane proportions. I don't know. I mean...
So,
the problem is Republicans started it in Texas. They shouldn't have started this fight unless, because you got too many squishy people in places like Indiana and other places that aren't going to follow through. If every Republican legislature went forward with it and did the same thing, it wouldn't be a problem. But they won't. So you're going to lose. You went to battle with one arm tied behind your back.
Respectfully, my friend, Republicans did not start crap.
This initial fight with Texas was to start.
Texas did not start jack crap. Texas is not to fault for this. Texas was simply following the law. The Democrats are pretending this entire thing is a false flag claim that was made by Gavin Newsom and all these other leftist governors, where they're basically pretending that what Texas did here was so way outside the norm that they were redistricting not in a year 01, 21, 31, 11, that they normally you redistrict, you do your census in every 10 years on the zero, and then you'll do your redistricting within the next year or so. And they're like, why would you be doing redistricting in a 5-year, as in 2025? And the answer to that question is they legally had to. This is what the left has been lying about. They say, oh, we were going to go tit for tat. Since Texas is doing it, we have to do it. Texas had to do it. Texas had screwed up districts. The reason they had screwed up districts is because of a terrible decision that was made by the Fifth Circuit back 30 years ago.
I thought something had to do with Louisiana too. There were some Louisiana districts that went up to court.
What happened was that roughly 30, maybe even 40 years ago, when it was after the Voting Rights Act came out there. So the Voting Rights Act said, hey, there was a concern. I'm glad you brought this up because I want to walk everyone through it so that no one ever thinks for a second that this is something Texas did, which was trying to steal or cheat. I understand. I understand.
My point is that the Republicans, the other Republicans, as soon as California came out, the other states should have
get to your point.
and did what they had to do.
I want the audience here to understand what happened here, okay? You had the Voting Rights Act, and the Voting Rights Act had a concern, a good faith concern, which was that, hey, we are worried that states are going to try to screw over minorities. We're worried that that's going to happen. So if you have an area where you have a lot of minorities, you're not allowed to, where there's what's called a majority minority. What's a majority minority? That in this area, you have minority X, could be blacks, could be Hispanics. In theory, it could be Jews. You just never have that many Jews in any particular place outside of like Brooklyn or maybe Lakewood that you'll actually have such a thing. But that there's going to be a majority of folks who are of minority X, and that the state, and they really worry about, let's call a spade, pardon the pun, that they were really worried that given the time and place, that white politicians were going to screw over the black community. And what they would do is they would basically gerrymander to take a whole bunch of people from the black community and shove them together with a whole bunch of white voters, and then you take another section and shove them with a different group of white voters and basically parse them out into different areas to dilute their vote so that they would not be able to get representation in Congress. So under the Voting Rights Act, they said if there is an area which is a majority of the people are of a certain minority, you must give them their own district, which is called a special district. So now they're entitled to get this special district. But then a question came up roughly the Voting Rights Act was in 1963 or so. So it's a whole civil rights thing that's happening. That what came up as a question was, well, what happens if you have an area which is not really majority black, but if you take the blacks and the Latinos, they together are two separate minorities, that they are the majority of the overall population in this area. And do they get their own special district or not? Now, the Voting Rights Act only said if you have a majority of a minority A, or X in my example, not X and Y. So the Fifth Circuit came out and said 40 or 50 years ago, yeah, you know what? If they're minorities, but they vote alike and they're different minorities, then they too should get their own special district. So in Texas, there was a couple of districts, which they basically, because they have a lot of Latinos, a lot of black people in Texas, and they basically had a couple of areas that they said, this is going to become a special district because under the Fifth Circuit ruling, that, hey, we merged together these different minorities. Now they're entitled to a special district. So this served to end up giving the Democrats added representation because all of a sudden now, because of that Fifth Circuit decision, now you have more of these special districts, which are designed to basically be filled by folks that the minorities and really black and Latino are going to be voting for. That's what the ruling was. But then in 2024, the Fifth Circuit overturned that decision, and they're basically like, wait a second, the Voting Rights Act doesn't say you're supposed to merge together two different minorities. They're two different minorities. Why the heck are they all of a sudden now? That ends up being biased to all the white folks, because the white folks now basically are like, they could be like 45%, and then you have 30% black.
Well, in Texas, isn't white a minority in Texas?
Well, and we're not talking about the entire state. We're talking about, like, let's say, in this area, one county in Texas, or whatever, or a couple of counties together in Texas that comprise a certain district. So So they basically said, so if you're going to have an area that's 40% white, you're going to be 45% white and 30% black and 25% Latino, and now you're going to take those 40% white and basically say, oh, you're now the minority, and now you're going to have to be represented by someone black. They're like, that's ridiculous. That's not at all what the Voting Rights Act called for. So the Fifth Circuit in 2023 or 2024 overturned their previous holding that they made decades ago. And they say, no more. You're not supposed to have special districts that are combined of different minorities being merged together to form a majority of an area, that they're the majority of the population in an area. You cannot do that anymore. You have to stop doing that, which means that because of this change by the Fifth Circuit, Texas was obligated by law, and Harmeet Dillon pointed this out to Texas, you're obligated by law to disband this because it's racist against the white people. It's not fair to them. You're basically depriving them of representation because you're basically screwing them over by trying to get all the blacks and Hispanics together to try and get another seat in the House that's going to be filled presumably by the likes of what's that crazy black woman down from Texas?
Jasmine Crockett.
Jasmine, yeah, to be filled like by a Jasmine Crockett, and they're like, that's not fair. You're being racist against white people, and that's what the Fifth Circuit hold. And because of that, Texas was obligated to fix the situation because their law changed. So Gavin Newsom sees it and says, "Oh, they're redistricting in the middle of a decade. How dare they do that? Now we're going to change our laws to enable us to try redistricting right now." And then you see the same thing happening in one state after another. And you are correct in your beef against the Republicans. But I want everyone to understand, it's not like Texas was starting a fight. Texas was complying with a change in the law that only happened just a year or two ago. So they basically like, all right, well, what are we going to do? We got to fix it. Our district here is racist. It's racist against white people. It's not fair. So they said, we'll change it now. So that's what they did. Gavin Newsom, the scum, and some of these other states, New Hampshire was talking about doing it. And I think Maryland was talking about doing it, and now Virginia is talking about doing it. And you're right. There are states that Republicans, I think Illinois also, they have some retarded, ridiculous type of districts that they have there. So,
well, no, in 2020 they gerrymandered the crybaby out of his Kinzinger out of his seat,
which is why we were all laughing about it because he basically joined up with them and then got booted on his ass.
My opinions on it are that gerrymandering shouldn't be a thing because there should be way more House seats than there are. The House should be like 70,000 people per House seat or something like that. And that's it, because that's how you don't have representation when your congressperson represents 1 million people. You don't.
It's true.
You don't.
That's true. It's a great point. Well, anyhow, the upshot of it all is that so now Virginia is weighing in. Now Virginia is basically, in the last election, came in like 54-46 for Democrats. So you would think that if you're dividing up and portioning up the House, the districts, what kind of representation would be a fair amount to come out from Virginia? It would be like out of 11 votes, it would be like 6-5, 7-4. Well, Virginia is redistricting right now to create a 10-1 partisan split favoring Democrats. 10-1. Speaker Don Scott said the maps will be released later today or tomorrow morning. That's what they had said. And this is the lunatic left basically trying to say, oh, we got to get back in Texas.
Give me more seats. Then that's not enough. So he calls North Carolina, Missouri, Ohio. I need more. I need more. Today we are leveling the playing field. These are not ordinary times, and Virginia will not sit on the sidelines while it happens. We made a promise to level the playing field, and today we're keeping our promise. Our maps are ready. Virginia is ready. We said 10-1, and we meant it. And we are proud to deliver a map that stands up for democracy.
Stand up for democracy.
Stand up, Virginians, to stand up and give us a voice.
To give us a voice. It's not, no, you're basically trying to steal a voice from the 45% that are there. This is such an abuse of power. It's astonishing.
He started this mess, and Virginia is going to finish it.
Virginia to the rescue. Senator Lucas said it best. We've been working really hard to make sure that we got this delivered. This is about leveling the playing field.
Leveling the playing field.
Republicans are gerrymandering maps to override the will of the voters. We just saw it in Texas, North Carolina, and Missouri. at Donald Trump's direction. They're manipulating election maps because they know they can't win on their agenda in 2026. So instead of changing their ideas, they're trying to rig the system. A 10-1 map levels the playing field, and we're ready to move forward.
What are they gonna do when Florida redistricts and it's 24-1 Republican? Because that can happen.
I think Florida likely will redistrict. Look, and I want to go on record. I've said this many times, and I'm sure I'll say it many more times again as long as I have this show. I'm very much against gerrymandering. And for
I think it should be illegal completely.
It should be completely illegal. I think the Supreme Court has thrown their hands up and basically said we don't know how to stop it.
To stop it, all they have to do is say, in this day and age, the technology exists that it should be done by a computer, and it should be all straight lines.
A computer.
Straight lines. That's it. Just no all right straight lines. It should be shapes that you could recognize, squares, rectangles. That's it. Shouldn't be crazy. It should be boop, square. Start in the top left corner of the state, make a square. This number of people, knock another square. This number of people, another square. That's it. No bias, no nothing. Let the chips fall where they may.
But then when communities move, then you have to adjust the squares.
You're right. That's what the squares would adjust. That's right. So the squares would adjust depending on the community.
I, in theory, agree with you. And when I say in theory, I'm not trying to trivialize. I think you're 100% right. I think it's stupid. I'm just saying, first and foremost, even if you did squares, you probably could end up gerrymandering somewhat anyway. Just the nature of the shape of the rectangle.
Decided. I'm saying the parameters.
Computers are very easily manipulated.
I'm just saying that you can
very easily manipulated.
Basically, get the lines and just make it all squares, just squares. Like blocks.
You probably would take AI like all of 12 seconds if you say, "Hey, I need to divide my state up into rectangles." Do that
or octagons, just shapes. Whatever shapes, but shapes, not these crazy snakes and weird shit.
Yeah. Well. Anyhow, let's go on with let's go on with this lunatic woman here.
By releasing the maps publicly, we're gonna get them released either by the end of the day or early tomorrow. We'll get those maps released. And putting them out in the open and allowing them to be debated the way they should be in a democracy. We're gonna leave it up to Virginia voters. The maps are ready. Virginia's ready. And that's my senator said it many times. 10-1. 10-1. Thank y'all. Appreciate it. I don't know.
So that's what they're looking for. They admit that they're trying to get it to go 10-1. The one would be the one in the westernmost portion of the state. I want to see if I can find a picture of the map here for you. Let me see if I can pull this up for you real quick. Basically, yeah, I'm not sure how this how it currently is. I don't know why I'm not finding a good map, a new map. New Jersey map. If we look at this map over here, it's like only number 9. Like all of these, they think they have properly gerrymandered to leave it. Like only this district number 9 would end up being Republican, and the other ones here would all end up being Democrat. Now, here's one thing I want to tell you. I don't think that the redistricting, the gerrymandering is, everyone makes it as if this is a guarantee that you're going to win. I think that's very short-sighted. I think that's a ridiculous. It's a ridiculous claim, because I think that just because you're trying to work it out this way, you're not getting rid of the Republican voters who are living in this area, who are living in this area. I understand you're trying to swamp each one of them, and maybe they're effective, maybe they work, and maybe it'll get them a couple of seats. I don't think it's going to be 10-1, but if the idea is they want to get themselves a couple of seats, I'm not saying there isn't any effectiveness to it. I'm just simply saying there's a difference between what your plan is when you're gerrymandering and actually succeeding when you're talking about getting the entire state virtually to vote for one particular party. I don't know that it's so simple to do that. So that's first and foremost. Second of all, there are legal issues that affect the state of Virginia that I was looking up about this issue that I want to call to your attention here. So what happened in Virginia is this is an issue that came up relatively recently. So there was a county circuit judge who ruled late in late January, saying, so even if they passed a law that gets signed by the governor, even if they passed a law there, it still would be put on hold, because what ended up happening was there was an injunction that was put by a county circuit judge by the name of Jack Hurley, who ruled that the Democrat-led constitutional amendment process for mid-decade redistricting was a procedural violation, that they didn't give proper notice. So he said, since you didn't give proper notice, that when you were trying to get past this vote to change your constitution to be able to move forward with redistricting, because under the Virginia state constitution, you can't just redistrict in the middle of a decade. It has to be during the first year or two of a decade. That's the only time you could redistrict. So he said that, so this judge said that he put an injunction saying, no, there's no redistricting that's happening now, because you would need to have an amendment to the Constitution, and your amendment to the Constitution has to come forward under proper notice. You didn't fulfill proper notice, hence you cannot redistrict now. And the thought is they're under the gun already. It's very tough. You can't just start redistricting 3 months before an election, before you're supposed to have elections. You sort of need to, they're already behind the gun as it is right now. It's supposed to be coming up. So then they went to the appellate court. The appellate court basically said, we're not touching this. We're going to fast track it to Virginia's Supreme Court. So Virginia Supreme Court is supposed to weigh in as to whether or not this thing is a valid redistricting or not, or whether, and essentially from what I understand, it comes down to the actual notice element as to whether or not they had provided sufficient notice before they were looking to amend the Constitution to enable redistricting in the middle of a decade.
Didn't California have the same problem and they just said, nah?
California had, what California did was, they had their own vote, and apparently, and California's Supreme Court, or I'm not sure if they call it the Supreme Court there, I think they do, because there's different nomenclature for the top court. They ended up basically saying it's fine. That everything that happened here was fine, and the redistricting in California, I think it was just this week, was approved by the court as being valid. So my point in raising all this for you is this. This sucks. It's terrible. Jim is 1,000% correct that Republicans are lily-livered losers who don't have the cojones to actually do it back. I don't know why that is. It's very embarrassing.
Well, look at Indiana. They said they made a deal with Maryland not to redistrict. And then Maryland, after they made a deal, said, we're going to do it anyway. And they still haven't done shit in Indiana.
Yeah. Because I think it's laziness. It's laziness or cowardice.
But no, it's because Mike Pence is still the power in Indiana, and he's a fucking traitor.
I don't know. I don't know that
Trump, he's the devil, Satan incarnate.
Could be. I don't
remember when
know.
that fly landed on him and he acted like it was no big deal.
He seemed clueless about it.
Satan.
Which is a weird thing because, like, I don't know how you're sitting on camera and don't have any sort of clue what you look like while you're on camera the entire time. Although now that I think about it, when I went on Destiny's show, I wasn't able to see myself the entire time. Usually you're supposed to have a camera. You can actually like see what you look like on camera while it's happening. But it is kind of weird that he had no idea that a fly was sitting on his head for like 20 minutes during that stupid debate where he embarrassed himself. Like, if you can't whip Kamala Harris in a debate, you should not be a vice presidential candidate. This is something I think people don't pay enough attention to, just like the ability to actually conduct yourself in a debate. He was terrible. He was so boring. But excuse me. The point that I'm getting at here is redistricting doesn't really work quite as well. Otherwise, if it did, every state has been redistricted, we would know what the House is going to look like every single time, which look the same all the time. Right, Jim?
Yeah, well, plus here's the thing too. Like,
every place has been gerrymandered.
Even the stuff with Texas. If Texas votes the way it does when Trump was on the ballot for Trump, it's going to be this way. Guess what? It doesn't work out that way when Trump's not on the ballot. So this whole thing about Texas going to get these other seats, maybe not. And these other states, it might not turn out that way either because they're looking at numbers and going, oh, well, this votes this way. They don't know where each vote comes from. It's not like if they were looking at every person's voting records, I think that would be illegal. So like, well, this house votes this way. So let's put this house here and this house. I don't think they can legally do it like that.
Right. They think they have it, and they probably have some success in it, meaning it probably will help them. But I remember there was one state that said we're going to redistrict. I think it was Massachusetts, said we're going to redistrict also, and folks were like, "You already have 11-0." like, what are you going to change? What are you going to change? You're like literally 11-0. So.
Well, didn't a court in New York just basically make them redraw Staten Island or something to take that Republican seat away?
Did they?
I swore there was something I saw about a court or, we have to redo this because it's disenfranchising Latinos somewhere. Because two Latinos moved into Staten Island.
Mm-hmm.
So they got to connect them to the Bronx or something.
Well, anyway. So that case in Virginia is pending before the Supreme Court right now. It's supposed to be heard on April 21st, which is considered an expedited basis because they understand the timing significance of this. But, they're going to need a decision really fast. It takes months. You sort of have to figure out who's running in this district and what's happening with these seats and who you have to create the ballots. You have different ballots for different districts because, when you get your ballot, it's got all these different particular individuals who are from your area. So they have to create the ballots for the state and then kick them out. So, if they come up with this in July, I don't know that they can. If they come up with a decision in July, I don't know how they can just get everything done before November. So I expect that decision to come relatively quickly, but they're on a very, very tight deadline, even if they manage to get it through. So my point is, don't lose heart that this is a done deal, first and foremost. And second of all, even if it is a done deal, I don't think that necessarily pans out the way that they're looking for. And finally, ultimately, we're all in God's hands. So that's the other point I would tell you. Richard Parker says, I knew there's something wrong with Jim. He don't NFL. Yeah, it is a flaw. Harmeet Dillon brought the action against Texas. She brought an action forcing Texas to act out.
NHL.
You do NHL, really? Really? What's your team?
The Blackhawks.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm a Chicago Southside. What's up?
All right. Sorry. National voting percentage should reflect in representation. I agree with you in that. And there's a problem that if it's far off from that, which clearly there's a problem. Iowa does its best. You can't break up counties with districts. Oh, okay. Did you cover biolab found in a house in Las Vegas? CCP lab had COVID, malaria, hepatitis, and genetically altered mice. Thousands of vials of blood sent to DEM. I saw something on this. I wasn't planning on covering it.
I think it's like the fourth one they've uncovered. They found one in LA, now Vegas. There was one in Wisconsin or somewhere they got, and they were arresting the people coming over. I don't know.
I don't know what to make.
Something's got to happen.
I don't know what to make out of that.
I do. I could tell you. You want to know? China's at war with us.
So
we have not acknowledged it.
So you think this is an effort to unleash a new strain of COVID or malaria, hepatitis in the country?
It's a way to destabilize the United States from within. The first shot was COVID. Believe it or not, that was a bioweapon engineered to destroy America.
I can accept that. I can accept that.
So, and they're still at it.
Hands One Pack says, when these Democrat states redistrict like this, it means all the Democrat seats are now more competitive. They're diluting their own vote and making more districts close to toss-ups. I agree with him on that. That's why I said it's not so simple. People think, oh, if we just gerrymander, now we're going to win more seats. This is not the way it works. It's really not the way it works. It's not like you're getting rid of people who are voting red. So you're just making it a lot closer in different districts, and seats that they might expect to win or might have chalked up as like, yeah, a glass of water can win here, all of a sudden becomes something that's a lot tougher to win. So he's completely correct in that. Lauren Kremens says, great night, Joe. Thank you so much. John Delane saying, online betting with CalShare Polymarket could make polls and elections obsolete in the near fashionistic future. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that they're still so far from the mainstream for people to like actually be following it. I think that like you have like less than 1 in 1,000 people actually follow. All right, maybe that's an exaggeration, but it's certainly less than like 1%. So actually like following poly markets, like as anything more than a cursory interest. And even if that number were as high as 5 or 10%, it's still so far from the main that like I don't think it's gonna be influential. It's a fun little thing to try and figure out if you can make some money because you feel like you know who's going to win a particular race. So I get that. And that's what I have for you tonight, my friends. I thank you all for joining me. I need a link from Jim because I don't think I put a link to his show up.
Oh. I did.
And that is boo on me. So I guess I should actually say like, yeah, this is. I didn't have it here.
There it is. Yeah, people can check me out on YouTube or Rumble or Twitch or Kick or Locals, or Instagram or Facebook.
This is for me for neglecting to put Jim in there.
And Jim tells you. And on X, I am on X. I have 2 accounts on X. I don't really use the Jim Tells You account on X. I do check it occasionally. I only got it so that no one else could get it. But I am Jim Satala on X. That is my name.
Yes, that's where I send my links. If he ever changes it, I'm in trouble. Because all of a sudden I'll be sending them to some wacky person.
No, I'm not going to change it. I have 2 accounts on X. But the one I just got because I wasn't going to let someone else get Jim Tells You.
That would be insane. That'd be insane. That'd be like me letting Good Lawgic go.
Yeah, who would do that?
All right, so the link is now in the description over here. I'm urging you all to make sure that you click on that link. I'm going to throw it up in the chat also so you can have it there.
Yeah, I am wildly underserved on subscribers. I don't even have 2,000 subscribers yet. It's crazy.
It is pretty nuts.
It's crazy. It's insane.
And for one reason or another, I wrote follow Kim here. That's not what you want.
Kim. Yeah, Kim too. Kim Chi. Kim Jong-un.
But I got corrected now to follow Jim here. And I'm going to pin it in the chat also. So why is that doing that? That doesn't look
Nick
right.
live? Should we redirect to Nick?
I should redirect. Is he live?
Someone just said something about him being live. Let me look.
I definitely would redirect to him. I might even jump on with him if he's covering anything that I feel like I know something about.
There he is. He's live.
What's he talking about tonight?
Jake Lang arrested or something?
I haven't been following that story. I would feel incompetent in that story, so I can't really do that one. But sometimes I'll just ask him for a link, just so I can like hang out with him.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, sorry, I gotta do the redirect. Otherwise, I suck.
Do the redirect.
Let's do the redirect. Add. I'm gonna have to come over here. Makeda Law. We'll spread the love. All right.
That's just how it goes. That's life these days.
Yeah. I don't know if he's. That sounded like he's wrapping up. I don't know if he is or not. It seems really early for him to be wrapping up.
No, he's not wrapping up. He just started.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Cool. All right. That's saved now. And that's what I got for you this week. I thank you all for joining me. I will see you all, God willing, maybe Saturday nights. Good chance Saturday night or Sunday. Definitely. Well, not Sunday. Sunday is the Super Bowl. I'm not going to be streaming it after the Super Bowl because I usually hang out with friends for that. But so I'm not going to be streaming on Super Bowl Sunday, but there's a good chance I'll be streaming on Saturday nights. But I'm definitely not going to be here tomorrow evening. That's for sure. So until next time, I thank you all for joining me, and I urge you that click on that link, give Jim a follow. He's awesome. He's based. He's great, and he makes a great show. And you're gonna love it as much as you love me, if not more. And stay away from that lab meat because it's not meant for you. It's meant for they, them. And do not eat the bugs. Don't do. Have a good night and Godspeed.